Yeah, that was a murder.
Oh, my God.
It was a murder in Fort Myers last night.
Whew. Who got beat worse, FGCU or Djokovic?
FGCU.
So, David, poll question. We're just thinking 4 Super Bowl.
Yeah, just put the Super Bowl choices
Super
up.
Bowl choices.
58 points and a half they gave up. 58 in the second half. 58. By the way,
college hoops, that is a lot.
What Super Bowl is this? 58?
58.
Yes. 58.
LVIII.
LV.
You know, shout out to my 3rd grade teacher. During the Super Bowl, she taught us Roman numerals. She worked it in. She was like, this is a good time to learn Roman numerals. At the time, I think it was like, Super Bowl 40 something. XLII.
XLI. There you go. 41.
Did you just do the math for me?
Yeah.
For when that was? I don't even remember what that was.
You were saying 41, 42. If you think about it, you're 24. You go back like 17 years, 41. You were, I'm guessing you were 7, 8 when they were teaching it to you, right?
Yes. Nice.
I'm smart.
There it is. The poll question's up.
We got to promote the shit out of that today.
Whoa.
Sorry, not to. I'm saying, what's your Super Bowl prediction? Come on, vote, people. Let's go. Mark got it up before the show even started.
Man, there's a lot went on this week.
It really is.
So we're getting Gary before he golfs.
Mark called it.
Told you. I said Gary must have an early tea time.
7:18. Yep. And so I said to him, I go, so do we want to do, 7:01? I go, that'll take us to about 7:13 or so. He says, no, let me have a warm up this time.
Well, so David, do you want to do starting 5 at 6:20 or at? You want to do it later
or at 7:30?
Either one works.
We're at 7.
Or at 7.
You want to do it at 7?
Probably, because there's a lot that went on. I think I'd like to give us a couple segments to kick things around. Have some fun with Gary.
Hi.
This has been like remember when week for him. His phone's been ringing off the hook.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It's the final Friday of January, but it's still a football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Man, has it been an eventful week. Unbelievable, the people who are getting hired and not getting hired. Never mind the upsets that are taking place everywhere. Hell, Djokovic got beat down under. My goodness. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I am doing great. Ready for the weekend. Lots going on in the sports world. Lots going on, period. Big weekend for me, David. I had to let the wife know. Daughter's in a soccer tournament this weekend, and I'm like, I'm out of commission come 3 o'clock on Sunday. Don't know what to tell you.
There you go.
But that's how this is going to work.
We got 3 of these suckers left. 1 we all watch as a group. So we got 2 left, really. 3 to 10 on Sunday. That's it. I'm pulling a shift. I'm pulling a late afternoon, evening shift. 3 to 10 on Sunday. So good deal. So the wife picking her up, or are you going to farm it off on some other parent?
I'm farming. I was working at practice yesterday. I'm working out rides for Sunday, getting to and fro. There's a birthday party involved that I've said I will have nothing to do with. I may drop her off at that. I have said I will cook food on Sunday. I will have food ready for you before the Lions kickoff. That's all I am guaranteeing anyone. And that food may be a pizza that I order, David. I'm not even sure that I'm going to be responsible for it. But
nice. There you go.
You love divisional weekend. I love championship weekend.
Okay. All right. This is very much a home weekend here lately. And by lately, I'll say the last 10 years. Both sides, home teams have won 8 of the last 10 in conference championship weekend. Just so you know. In 2018, by the way, both road teams won in overtime. That was when the Rams beat the Saints on that unbelievably controversial non-pass interference call late in regulation. And then the Patriots and Chiefs. When the Chiefs had them beat, they picked off Brady, but they lined up off sides, and New England tied it and won it in overtime.
2 great games that year.
Yes. Fantastic.
And to me, you usually get one great one every championship weekend, where the other playoff games, you never know what you're going to get. I always feel like when I sit down on championship weekend that I have the ability to see greatness. And I think a little bit of it's because, David, and you're better at going year by year, but there was a stretch of Super Bowls when I was younger that weren't competitive games.
No, there's a whole generation of people now who expect a good Super Bowl. And when you and I were growing up, we were shocked if we got one. Shocked. The NFC had it all over the AFC for a 10-plus year period of time. And for those of us in our 50s, those were the Super Bowls growing up, where for the most part, the NFC team, whoever it was, they kicked butt in the Super Bowl. And then before that, you had the Dolphins, Steelers, and Raiders. So the AFC was dominating the 70s, and the NFC was dominating the 80s into the 90s. And over the last 25 years, we've had good Super Bowls.
But that's the reason why championship weekend, to me, is just a big deal, because you and I grew up in an era where there was a lot of blowout Super Bowls, and this was the weekend that determined champions.
Think about it last year. We had the blowout early. Purdy got hurt. And after it was 7-7 in the first quarter, Eagles dominated the Niners. But the night game came down to damn near final play of the game. That Bengals-Chiefs game was a war. Chiefs won on a late field goal. Remember the roughing the passer, or, unnecessary roughness penalty. Mahomes scrambling out of the pocket, gets hit late going out of bounds. Moved the Chiefs into field goal range. And that's why they went to the Super Bowl instead of potentially the Bengals. The Bengals, meanwhile, beat the Chiefs in overtime the year before. So in 2021 season, if you will, 2 years ago, Bengals, and big comeback too. They were down like 18 points. Came back, beat the Chiefs in overtime. Meanwhile, last NFC road team to win, the Bucs. Brady going into Lambeau. That 40-something yard bomb for a touchdown going into the locker room at halftime. And Tampa Bay never looked back. Held off Aaron Rodgers and the boys.
David, you mentioned 2021. Those were also 2 great games. That was my senior year of college. I think I remember, Matthew Stafford just barely holding off Tom Brady and the Bucs. They were storming back.
Well, and that was the divisional round. But the next week, the Niners had a 10-point lead over the Rams, and the Rams came back at SoFi. And that's one of those, Stafford threw a duck with like 8 minutes to go in the game, down a score. And it was a punt for 49ers safety, and he drops it. I mean, he literally could have fair catched it. It was such a bad pass. He drops it. Rams end up driving the length of the field, scoring. And they didn't win in overtime. They ended up scoring late to win.
Yes.
But so, yeah, usually we get, 2021, we got 2 very good games. Both decided late, one of them in overtime. Last year, it was 1-1.
Spreads indicating we'll be 1-1 this year. San Francisco, a big favorite over Detroit. Baltimore and Kansas City at 3.5.
Opened at 2.5. Some places it's 4, but as Mark mentioned, in others it's 3.5. Lions Niners is pretty much held at 7. I mean, for a few instances, you've seen 7.5. I'm waiting to see it at 6.5. I don't know if I've seen it at 6.5 all week. It's pretty much been the big fat 7.
And I think everybody wanting to bet the Niners is waiting for that moment, which it drops a half a point, and they will jump it, David.
And those wanting the Lions, you're hoping, can we get back to 7.5 for 13 minutes?
Can we just get the hook? But as you said, this line's pretty much settled at 7 for most of the week, so I would be surprised if it moves again.
Andy Reid. By the way, do you know what conference championship game this is for Andy Reid?
15.
No. It's a little
Not
high.
that many.
No, I'm joking.
A little high. Well, you're not.
9?
No, this is number 11
Okay.
for Andy Reid. Because, 6 straight year, the Chiefs have been in the AFC Championship, but he was in 5 in Philly. And what a difference in the championship game. Andy Reid goes 1-4 with the Eagles and then lost his first AFC title game with the Chiefs, the one we referenced in 2018, to Brady and the Patriots in overtime. So Andy lost 5 of his first 6 conference championship games. He's won 3 of his last 4. So number 6 in a row for Andy Reid and the Chiefs. First one on the road.
As we talked about yesterday on the show, first home championship game in the city of Baltimore in football since 1971.
Johnny Unitas against George Blanda. Colts, Raiders. Hello. By the way, Trent, did you look up Larry King?
I did. I had to, because you guys were doing such a good job of it yesterday. And by the way, both of your impressions are very, very good.
Thank you.
It's not a tough one. That's
No,
part of the
it's
reason.
not.
Thank goodness.
It's not. And we both can get the little gravelly in our voice when we need it, which he would get as he threw it to the caller. Aberdeen, South Dakota. Hello.
Yeah, I know neither one of you smoke cigarettes either, but if you went and took a drag before that, then you came in, it'd probably be even better.
Haven't had a long dart in a long time. I used to. Those are long gone in my life.
So you can spin this however you want to spin it. Home teams have won 8 of the last 10 on both sides of conference championship weekend. But then again, 2 of the last 3 years, we've had a road winner. So spin it accordingly. Hey, what do you say, as our buddy John Forsland would go. So that's what's upon us late afternoon into the evening on Sunday.
What odds would both of you guys give me for both road teams to win? Chiefs, Lions, Super Bowl.
Well, happened 5 years ago with the Rams and the Patriots both winning on the road.
4-1, 5-1.
I'll take it.
I will.
I'll live and die with it.
I know you will. You live with long odds. I love it.
Well, he won money betting the Pistons this week, so he feels like he can't lose. And if you've listened to Miller and Moulton's college basketball specials for the week, we've done you pretty well.
Hello, Beavers.
Hello, Oregon State at home against Arizona, getting 8.5 and winning outright.
They got 18.5, I think, right?
Yeah.
Was it that big?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were supposed to lose by 19.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Going on the road in college basketball.
It's the last great home advantage in sports. It really and truly is.
Just remember this come March, because you guys have been on this all year. Home teams, and there's no home teams in March, I get it, but big favorites, conference play, ranked opponents, it's wide open in college hoops. Sorry, back to the NFL.
Well, just a quick sidebar on that. David and I have been big believers on Thursday and Friday of the tournament of simply just taking the points.
Take the points. Just take the points. Just blind circle it. Just take the points in all 32 games and see where it adds up late Friday night. And usually it's winner, chicken dinner. 19 out of 32, something like that, 20 out of 32. Just take the points. Although I don't know how many points are going to be given this year. It could be a lot of balance this year in the tournament. But so we have a lot to talk about. It's been an amazing week. And then there were 2 more head coaches hired in the NFL yesterday. And neither place hired Bill Belichick.
No, they did not. Now, your original pick was Washington.
Yes.
That job's still available.
Yeah, but in name only.
He's not really being considered for that either.
No, apparently that's Lions offensive coordinator's Ben Johnson's job. He's just still working. Miller and Moulton. Gary Danielson will join us in 25 minutes because the last time the Lions and the Niners played in the playoffs, he was one of the 2 quarterbacks in the game.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, Mark, you do a French press every morning?
I do a French press
and
every
put
morning.
the whole thing in that?
Yes. Well, I have half a cup that I have while I'm sitting there reading through the scores and
Yeah, I got you. So what's in the green? Water?
water,
Water
just in
and coffee.
case.
Nice.
That's just in case. You know, if David had his coughing
Yeah,
attack
you start having
yesterday,
a coughing
that's there for that. Oh, wow. Kobe died today 4 years ago.
Ooh, that's right. Gosh, that's a remember where you were moment, right?
More for you than for me. Because
That makes sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not, and it's just.
That makes sense. No, I just remember about that. I remember TMZ was the first one to report it, and everyone was like, that's not right. Because TMZ has had plenty of blunders.
Yeah,
over
but they
the
had Michael
years.
Jackson.
No, they did. I mean, I just, in the moment, though, we were all kind of, it was a matter of, 10 minutes before another source got on it.
Yep.
But for that weird gray period where TMZ was the first one, we were like, there's no way Kobe Bryant's dead. But you're right. That's probably the first prominent figure in pop culture, let alone sports, of my generation to go. Crazy.
So I'm headed to Louisville.
Louisville?
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. Right. Not Louis. Louis.
I've got family there.
Oh, really?
Louisville. Yeah. Not family, but, well, my cousin's other side of the family. So, we're always all at the same functions and everything. So it's not blood, but it might as well be.
Gotcha.
Doing a game tomorrow from Freedom Hall, where Louisville became Louisville with Denny Crum. So checking off Freedom Hall and Mackey Arena this year. That's not bad.
Not at all. You can look at all the championship banners in both of those places. Sorry, that had to be. I just had to.
By the way, how many championship banners you got at East Lansing?
We got 2.
Okay, I'm just saying you're acting though like a, you're acting like you're UCLA there. I mean,
That's because, in my life we've gone to 8.
There's a lot of Final Four banners, David.
Yes, that's what.
Which is the difference between Michigan State and UCLA.
Totally. I have no problem admitting that either. Every time we make a Final Four, I cry like a baby.
By the way, I like Final Four banners.
Me too.
Like, I think UCLA not hanging Final Four banners is...
That's a boss move. Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. We'll have some fun with Gary Danielson in a little more than 15 minutes time. The last time the only other time the Niners and Lions have met in the playoffs, at least in the last 60 plus years, it was Joe Montana against Gary Danielson. And it came down to the final seconds. We'll talk to Gary, a little trip down memory lane. Also get his thoughts on the Lions and the Niners coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. But some big NFL news yesterday. 2 coaches were hired, both in the NFC South, and neither Carolina nor Atlanta hired a Belichick, a Carroll, or a Vrabel.
Hell, Carroll hasn't even had an interview, has he?
No. And I thought he would with the Chargers. That one surprised me. But first off, the Bucs suffer a huge loss. Offensive coordinator Dave Canales is the new head coach in Carolina, and he gets a 6-year deal. Whew. Now, this is because Dan Morgan's now the grand poobah running the football operations in Carolina, former Panthers linebacker. But Dan has had the overwhelming majority of his front office experience with the Seahawks organization. Well, Dave Canales has spent over a dozen years with the Seahawks in various capacities. So there's the connection. And as we see so many times, teams hire who they know, who they have a connection with.
And even though they have a connection, David, that connection only gets you so far, because I don't think there's any way that Carolina wanted to give a 6-year deal. But even an offensive coordinator was able to demand years with an organization that is so dismantled right now that it looks like it doesn't know what it's doing.
Well, and not only that, if everything were to go right for the Carolina Panthers, you're thinking the first time they're maybe going to get their head above water would be the second half of the 2025 season. It's difficult to imagine that next year won't be another grease fire for Carolina. The roster's bad, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They might lose some of their best players on a very good defense. And oh, by the way, they don't have a first-round pick, which would have been the first pick of the draft because they traded it away for their young quarterback, who doesn't have any receivers and doesn't have an offensive line. But besides that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? So they have a lot of work to do. I mean, don't you think, Mark, the situation we thought Arizona was in at the start of the 2023 season with roster, Kyler Murray was hurt, and, you know, we had Arizona on the clock before the season started.
Right.
2024 right now, who's on the clock?
Carolina.
Them or New England right now. I mean, honestly, you just take a look at roster and what have you. Yeah. But here's Canales, who clearly had a little something going with Baker Mayfield, showed also he could be a really good game coach. I mean, those 2 playoff game performances by Dave Canales was very good. Very good. There were times in which he had the Eagles and the Lions totally on their heels from a play calling standpoint. I mean, Dave Canales showed, wow, pretty good at this. And, you know, he's a bit of a quarterback whisperer. Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. Right. And now, you know, and that was a really good, bold hire for Todd Bowles. Can't emphasize enough. I mean, Miller and Moulton are in a business in which basically the only people who get hired are the people who are known. I mean, that's why, you know, Mark, you know, you're based in Southwest Florida now. I was with you for nearly 25 years. You know, we have talked many times. When FGCU a dozen years ago hired Andy Enfield, their athletic director didn't know Andy Enfield if he walked down the street and punched him in the mouth. And, that was going to be the biggest hire that AD ever made. He hired a complete stranger that he had no connection to. And it turned out to be the best hire he ever made in his life. That is so rare. Todd Bowles had no connection to Dave Canales. But a few people said, hey, you should really talk to this guy. Oh, okay. He did an interview with him, and he's like, wow, pretty impressive. Brought him in for a second interview, along with a couple other guys. But he ends up hiring a stranger. Last year's a pretty big year for Todd Bowles.
I mean, come on.
Right.
A month and a half ago, Todd Bowles was fired.
Yeah. But,
And
heading in.
But, I mean, think about just that. Think about Canales from 4-7.
Right.
Where there's no way he's getting hired. He's getting fired, David.
Yeah, they're all getting blown out.
They're getting blown out the door not more than a month and a half ago.
They're 5-7, trailing the Falcons with 3 minutes to go in Atlanta, and Baker Mayfield walks out onto the field. And that was the season. And we said it at the time when Baker let him down and threw the touchdown to Otten to win the game. We said this was the season for the Bucs. They lose this game, it's over. Everybody's getting fired. Regime change. And now, 6 weeks later, he's the head coach of the Carolina Panthers with a 6-year contract. Now, I'm really happy for Raheem Morris, the other NFC South hire yesterday. I am. I think he went and paid his dues. He got the Bucs job when they fired Gruden, surprisingly, nearly 15 years ago now. Wow. And Raheem actually, his second year on the job, produced a 10-6 season. They missed the playoffs that year in a tiebreaker. But then it bottomed out the next year. The team quit on him and he got fired. Well, he went to work for 12 years. Coordinator a couple places. But this is fascinating, Mark. He was the interim head coach in 2020 in Atlanta. Atlanta went 4-7. They passed him over for promotion 3 years ago. So he goes to the Rams, defensive coordinator, helps them win a Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. And 3 years later comes back, and now they hire the guy who they had in their building and evaluated and went, nah. And 3 years later, now they go, he's the guy for the job over Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel.
Right. Over Bill Belichick. I mean, these are both defensive guys. And Atlanta made the decision that the best defensive coach for their team was Raheem Morris.
Now, I'm happy for him. I think he's one of the guys who deserved a second opportunity, and I give the Rams all the credit in the world. They began their end of the season press conferences, and their GM said, before we talk about the Rams, and he went on a impassioned speech and said to all the teams that are out there looking for a head coach, you are making a big mistake if you don't hire Raheem Morris. I thought it was one of the classier things an organization has publicly done in a while. And it, maybe it helped. And so good for Raheem. 12 years later, okay, good. Todd Bowles was an interim head coach a couple times. Dan Campbell was an interim head coach a couple times. So good for Raheem. But Belichick gets passed over. And there's seemingly no place for him to get a job this year. We're going to have an NFL without Belichick, Brady, and Manning in 2024. Of course, Manning and Brady will be in the broadcast booth. I mean, maybe Bill should do some TV.
Can't you see him on a Manning cast?
Well, he was so infectious before the Army-Navy game. I mean, come on.
We were just thrilled we could get him. They played on Thursday, so on Saturday he had nothing to do. It was great for us, but so Dave Canales, Raheem Morris, the two new head coaches in the NFC South, and Bill Belichick is likely unemployed in 2024. Wow. Gary Danielson, still gainfully employed, and he will talk to us next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from 1/2 carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Is the poll question up? Yes, it is.
DC, you're dang right Kirby Joseph's still a Lion. Number 31 back there. He'll be starting. The only reason I'm such a big fan of his is because I drafted him. That computer has been giving you ads more lately.
Yeah,
it's never been a problem.
It should be on mute. That's what I don't understand, but I don't get it. The problem is that it doesn't stay, like it'll just pop off.
Yeah, better now than during the segments. So, but DC, when the Lions drafted Kirby Joseph in the 3rd round, I called my shot on that. I had watched him at Illinois a little bit, being from the Big Ten. Was a huge fan. He switched from corner to safety. Only played safety for 1 year, so he's still kind of fresh at the position. And I know you guys think he's dirty, but I would disagree. Can one of you guys please ask Gary if he's been stopped in the grocery store at all this week? Because I'm sure he has been.
That would mean he's been at the grocery store.
Good point. Also, DC, the sign that the Lions fan made about the kneecap, that was Dan Campbell's introductory press conference. If you go back and watch it, he was just, we're going to bite a kneecap off, we're going to bite another kneecap off, we're going to take a hunk out of you, and that's all it was. It wasn't specifically.
In retrospect, it doesn't nearly look as bad.
No, not at all.
I watched it. Your dad sent me that.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the same thing he sent you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's incredible. By the way, I love that you and my dad are now.
That's awesome.
Talking on a somewhat regular basis.
He's so fired up for Sunday. He can't contain himself.
Oh, yeah.
He
His brain has been mush all week.
I will say, when your team is finally in the game, to be the late game is agonizing.
It is. I want to be in the first one because I want to know.
You know, it was really interesting last night to tell you how far they've come. I'm watching the Wings, and the amount of Honolulu blue that you could see in the stands.
Yes.
Nice.
Was apparent.
Great win for the Wings, by the way.
Was.
All right, I'm going to call Gary.
Especially with Tampa just beating the crap out of Arizona.
Real quick, though, Illinois game, Northwestern the other night. I saw someone right behind the scorer's table with a Lions hat on. Illinois Northwestern. I was like, that's Bears country, you know? Let's go. Gary is ready to rock.
Yes. You don't know Gary very well.
Ready to
No, I
rock.
don't.
That's funny.
Trent sounds like he's spinning hits on lunch hour on a two
He's
for
ready
Tuesday.
to go.
Here we go.
Coming up, a double shot on Cheap Trick.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. We are moving the starting five to the top of the hour so that we could talk to longtime friend of the show, close personal friend of mine, Gary Danielson. Is this trip down memory lane week for you? How are you?
Why? What? What's going on?
Well,
strokes you're getting today.
Mark. So and David, both good friends. I haven't done a lot of these this week, but I've done two, and I wanted to include you guys in. But for me, could you make it the starting four today instead of the starting five? Just for me.
Is five a difficult number for you? You're saying?
It's not a good number. No, it's not a good number. Four's not good either, though. To tell you.
So the only other time the Niners and the Lions.
So let me answer the question. First, Trent, with us?
Yep, Trent's here.
Hop in, Trent. You with us?
Gary, I'm a huge fan. Yes, I'm here.
Bullshit. Were you alive in 1981 even?
No.
Born in 1999, Gary.
All right. Did your dad talk to you about this interview before I came on today?
No, he didn't, but he loves you as well for what it's worth.
Okay. I'm sorry. Glad. Let's back up a little bit. If I had played my best game in my life, and I've had some good ones, had some stinkers, and the Lions were playing this game and people wanted to talk to me about how good I played in this game and we came inches close, I would never do one interview. Not one. Because I had my chance. I had my time. It was a great time. The Lions in the Silver Dome, Mark, you remember those days?
Yep.
Your dad enjoyed us. We had good, really good teams, and we didn't quite make it. Maybe it was me. I don't know. Whatever the hell. Okay, but I enjoyed my time. I don't need to go there and put on my Lion jacket. It's these guys' turn, okay, to take their run. But when you play poorly and they want to talk to you about it, you can't duck out. You know, you got to be a man. You got to man up. You got to do the talking. And so, no, does it memory lane, David? Yeah. You know, I mean, we had a good team, and we really thought, even though our record didn't look it because we went through some injuries and stuff, that we were good enough to beat the 49ers. We liked our matchups. Our game plan was to throw against them, by the way. We thought we could pick on some of their players, and it almost worked. I mean, so, it's they don't talk about Greg Norman's front nine much, do they? Guys?
Well, no, they don't. For those that don't know,
but in my case, they talk about my front nine.
For those that don't know, so it was the 83 playoffs. The Niners are a year removed from winning the first Super Bowl with Walsh in Montana. The game was at Candlestick on the old foot baseball diamond, so I don't even believe they had covered some of the dirt because I thought Eddie Murray had to kick the game-winning field goal on a dirt portion of the field.
At that time of the year it was covered, but honestly I don't remember because sometimes I mix it with playing with Cleveland and we played in Milwaukee, sometimes I just get those things all confused.
So they met in the divisional round, and 24-23 Niners. Right. Gary drove the Lions down the field in the fourth quarter, took the lead. Montana answers with under 2 minutes to go to take the lead. Gary drove Detroit into field goal range, missed 43-yard field goal at the gun. Niners advanced to the championship game. Washington only beat the Niners on a last-second field goal in the NFC Championship game. So it goes back to Gary, all three division champions. You know, you all three, I think, thought you could win the Super Bowl or at least go to it that year.
Well, at least go to it. I think that's the case. That's true. Yeah, and you know, we really were good against teams because our two backs, like the 1-2 punch the Lions have now, we had it with Billy Sims and James Jones, two great players. Not quite like Montgomery and Gibbs, a little bit different styles, but James Jones was such a good route runner that, you know, he was the second player they used to tilt to Billy's side, obviously, but near the goal line, we would shift our fullback out, James Jones, and throw him fades because a linebacker would match up with him and nobody could cover. Well, in this game, they were ready for it. And we went to JJ early in the game twice. And usually if the linebacker goes to Billy Sims' side, because both sides have options, I'll go to JJ. If it goes to JJ's side, I go to Billy. But this time, the middle linebacker kind of just stayed in the middle, kind of drifted a little bit to Billy's side. And usually the linebackers, when the linebacker goes away, never wants the back to get beat inside. Well, they both forced him inside, and they were ready. 2 interceptions, and I didn't even know who picked off the ball. So halftime, we got 4 interceptions, but we're still in the game. So once I determined with my guys, by a very close vote, by the way, that they were still going to let me come back on the plane to Detroit after the game. I told them, listen, wasn't good. I get it. We're in the game, but here's what I promise you. Not going to punk out on you guys. If I throw 5, 6, 7, if we're in the game and I got to throw it between people, it's on me. You know, we're going to win this game one way or another. So, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it was humbling. Let's put it that way. You know, it's my hometown, Detroit. And, but as I've said many times, it was humbling, but I'm still proud of the way. If you watch the whole game, I'm proud of the way I played.
And obviously, it ends with Eddie Murray. I mean, obviously remember as a kid watching Eddie Murray miss that field goal. You guys had to think you won the game. I mean, when you walked off the field, did you think you won?
Well, I was the holder.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forget about that. Quarterbacks had to do that in your day.
Yeah. And it, you know, and Eric was, I used to be Eddie's holder, then Eric was his holder. And in that game, I was his holder. He kicked 3 field goals. I think he kicked a 50 plus, maybe broke the record, 50 plus yard field goal. So no, this was right in his range. I mean, I think we got the ball near the 25-yard line. Whether we were back, I think we went back 7.5 yards because that way the laces would be good at 7.5 yards. That's how you determine those laces. And he hit it exactly the way he always hits it. He starts it at the right upright, and they always hook in. This one did hook in, but he can't blame it. I mean, no one blames Eddie. I mean, nobody on the team, you know. So it was, but you know, it was a game, and I think the karma of this is the Lions are going to win this game. I'm convinced of it. I don't bet, but I think the karma comes back and this thing's going to even out. And I think I don't think it's luck. I thought we were as good as them, or I think our talent was as good as them back in '83. And I think this team is at least as good as a 49er team. And I think they got some edges in some key positions. So, man, I'm rooting for them. It would be great. Remember, Mark, you remember this. I mean, you remember when the Tigers won in '68, what it was like.
I wasn't born in. I remember in '84 though, because I was lucky enough to go to Game 3. So I remember '84 vividly.
You remember when the Red Wings won it, what it was like.
Yeah.
When they were the Dead Wings for so many years. You remember when the Pistons won it, what it was like. I mean, it was, and I think this is going to make those look like, you know, afternoon tea parties if the Lions win this thing.
Oh, Gary, I mean, if they win this week, the Vegas takeover of Lions fans is going to be something I don't know if Vegas is even ready for.
I know. But these guys deserve it. I mean, they went through hell. Ragnow and these guys that have been on this team for a long time, they lived through loss after loss after loss. Our 79 team lived through that, and then in 80 we turned it around and we were a good team. So, when you keep working hard and playing hard when everybody else is making fun of you, that takes a lot of determination. So the team is built right, and I think they have a great chance to win this game. I really do.
We're talking with Gary Danielson, the Lions and Niners meeting, obviously, in the NFC title game. They played 40 years ago in the playoffs. Niners winning.
And let me commit to you guys right now that in 41 years from now, if this happens again, I will do another interview for you about these.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that.
Looking forward to that.
We'll book that now.
Yep.
That Florida Sports Network's going to be huge.
Unbelievable. It will be unbelievable. Boy, he's getting in on.
You got Mark out of your chair on that one, Gary.
Boy, he's making fun of himself and us all at the same time. This is great. Hey, in all seriousness, though, you mentioned the fact, you were a hometown guy. You and Hutchinson went to the same high school, right?
He did. And Hutchinson obviously is, he's just a huge, just a huge player. And the city is rallying around him. He's, put me to shame in every area. I'm pretty sure he's not going to beat my passing records. That's the only thing that's left in that area. But, I covered his dad when he played for Michigan, so it's a great story. And I think, the Lions got some breaks. I mean, getting him with the second pick, I don't even know, whether one was better than the other, but I think Hutchinson, Detroit was important for the city of Detroit. So, hey, let me be really honest here, though. I mean, nobody wants to go into a big football game like that and not play at their best. And I didn't play badly. It was just the way things went. Every pass that was slightly behind or slightly ahead either got tipped or an interception or a great play. It happens sometimes, I really, it never made me think any differently of myself, but it changed, the Lions team and our guys that worked so hard in that game. And that was tough to take. My teammates were great players. Some of them deserved a lot better. So when you're a team player and you're the leader of the team, you don't, in those positions, like to make those mistakes when the team has a chance to win those type of games.
Two quick things. First off, was it a big deal that you were the hometown guy? Like, was that played up? You're leading the Lions or not?
It was different back then, David. Everything was just, the local columnists were the big influencers. J.P. McCarthy, the radio, Beckman. There weren't, wall-to-wall, social media. But yes, it was. I remember I have this cartoon that was in the Detroit News. Pretty cool. I think it was 79 or 80 when, I was doing good and I was the starting quarterback, highest or second highest paid player on the team for 4 or 5 years. And there's this guy, his wife going phone call. He's watching TV, old guy in his favorite chair. He's watching TV. His wife saying, call for you. And he goes, I don't want to take the call unless it's Lee Iacocca or Gary Danielson. So those were the days where, hey, my run, it would have been nice to be a champion. That would have been great. Would have been great. Would have been fun.
Very quickly about how do you see this game? Okay, the Lions and the Niners. Do you think this is, like you said, you thought you had a good matchup 40 years ago. Do you think this is a good matchup for the Lions?
I think both teams feel it's a good matchup for them. Both secondaries are vulnerable. I think the team that runs the ball the best will win the football game. And I think the Lions have prepared for this game for 3 years of how to play physical football when they need to play. And from them, that was the game, it was, I think, one of the mistakes we made in that game. I threw 38 passes in that game. We ran 73 plays, by the way. I just looked up this morning. I've never watched this game. And I think the 49ers ran like 60 in the game. And hard to believe with all those turnovers that we would have that many more plays. But I think for me in that game, it would have been good that I threw 24 passes. In fact, we opened with the 49ers the very next year, and that's what I threw, and it was a much better mix for us. So I feel that might be you have to throw a lot, but I think if the Lions want to win, they need that running game to be effective, and I think they can do that. I think there is some vulnerability in that San Francisco edge that they can attack.
Well, the Packers did last week, and I'm sure the Lions picking up on that. Gary, thanks for making time for us. If you're playing a little bit later, hit them straight and enjoy the football on Sunday. Thanks for being a good friend of the show.
Mark, wish Pops was here for this one.
Yeah, me
really
too.
do.
Me too.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gary.
Gary Danielson. His day job is college football on CBS, former Lions quarterback 40 years ago. He threw 4 interceptions in the first half. They trailed 14-9, but he led them on the 2 fourth-quarter drives, one to take the lead, one that would have won the game if not for the missed field goal.
I love that he's still a fan.
Watches the Lions and the Browns faithfully.
It's fantastic. We'll do the starting 5. It's normally just happened, but we'll do it next on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay, I will be a little late getting the first hour up. I'm just letting you know because David's doing the starting 5, so I don't want to mess with
Yeah. That makes sense.
Also, you may want to, if you can, there's a word you may want to try to edit out.
I will. I marked down exactly when it happened, so I
Okay.
will get that out. Although I did love it. That was awesome. I was looking forward to that ever since David said he was coming on last night.
Well, there are things that I won't bother him about. But then if he decides, because I figure he's not going to want to talk, but if he starts talking, then I just send him a text and go, hey, if you're talking, and he's like, okay, absolutely. Because he only did 2 other interviews. He did Mad
Detroit?
Dog.
Okay.
No, he didn't do Detroit. He did Mad Dog because Russo, first Russo, Mike and the Mad Dog, and then Russo have been loyal to him for 30 years. And then he did NFL Network's morning show yesterday because of Jamie, who, we worked with her for 4 years, and they're great.
He did Good Morning Football?
He did. He did it while playing golf. Yeah, sitting in a golf cart. Yeah.
Well, this is the second time since I've been here that he's done the last segment of the 6 o'clock hour before his tea time.
Yeah, last time I think he had like a 7:20 tea time last time, so I think we jammed him in right at 7 o'clock once also.
Yeah, well, he did Saban retiring at 6:38, and he did the starting 5 before that a couple weeks ago. But I texted my dad right away. I'm like, Gary's on. You got to listen to this.
It's funny. They had a 4-year run, the Lions did, 80 through 83. Like 80, they were a good team. They got knocked out of the playoffs when the Vikings completed a Hail Mary to beat the Browns in the final game of the regular season. If the Browns, who were a good team that year, that was the year that Sipe threw the interception against the Raiders, and the Browns had the Vikings beat, and the Vikings went 90 yards in 2 plays in like 15 seconds with no timeouts and completed a Hail Mary to Ahmad Rashad. And if they don't complete that pass, the Lions win the division, but instead the Vikings did. In 81, I think they had a showdown final game of the regular season with Tampa Bay. Winner wins the division, loser gets knocked out. 82 was that strike year. They only played 9 games. I don't know if they made the playoffs and got beat or what have you. And then 83, they won the division. I think they won.
They made the playoffs. I looked it up. They made it in 82 and 83 back-to-back years.
Yeah, because the NFL in 82 decided 8 teams would make the playoffs in each conference. So like 4 and 5 made the playoffs, I remember, in the NFC that year. Giants lost out in a tiebreaker. But Russo asked him, what were you thinking about walking off the field? And he said, I was thinking that we deserve better, that we're a good team. Okay. And we deserved this one.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday. Our poll question has been up. We haven't promoted it at all, but it's actually been up for an hour, and it's very simply, so who's going to win? What's Super Bowl 58 matchup going to end up being Monday morning? Go to that, Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com, and vote accordingly. We just had Gary Danielson on because 40 years ago, the Lions and the Niners met in the playoffs, San Francisco winning 24-23. And, we're fortunate enough, Mark, and I'm, arguably even more fortunate because I've gotten to work and know these 2 quarterbacks. But it's interesting, before we get to the starting 5, that Gary Danielson and Troy Aikman both talk about arguably the 2 most crushing losses of their career as actually the games that they're most proud of. Gary just reminisced about He threw 5 interceptions in that 24-23 loss, 4 of them in the first half, and yet earned more praise from his team and around the league for how he played in the second half. He played really well in the second half. He was going toe-to-toe with Montana in the fourth quarter and put the Lions in position to win it. Joe Montana. And Gary's actually, he wished he played better. Niners kind of out-schemed him in the first half. He still doesn't know 2 or 3 of the interceptions he threw, how in the world they were picked off. He's like, guys shouldn't have been there. How are they there? And he credits Seifert and Walsh and the Niners for basically out-scheming them. But Aikman has said the game he's most proud of is the NFC title game he lost to the Niners. He throws a pick 6 early. They're down 21-0 on the road. And they came back and cut it to 3 in the fourth quarter against maybe the best Niners team of all time, that 94 team. And if you talk to Troy, and he has said it publicly, so I'm not letting out a state secret or anything, but he has said it's actually the game that he is most proud of. That they thought that they showed their championship quality as much in that loss as in any game that they played during their run. And you could tell from Gary, Gary wished Murray made the kick, but he really wouldn't have taken the 5 picks back. He's proud of the fact that he played through that, and he was outplaying Joe Montana in the fourth quarter of a playoff game on the road.
And obviously felt he needed to say something to the team before the second half. No, but not everybody does that.
Well, first off, how many quarterbacks would have gotten benched? And so, but yeah, he said, hey, at halftime, I said to him, listen, I'm not going anywhere. Just so you know, I'm not going to get soft on you guys. And so 40 years later, Lions take their shot in Frisco. It was a busy sports day yesterday. Let's get right to it. It's time for
The Starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
In a bit of a surprise, the Bucs lose their offensive coordinator after just 1 year. Dave Canales named head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He gets a 6-year deal. He'll turn 43 in May. The connection, Dan Morgan, who's now running the show in Carolina, spent many years in the Seahawks front office. Canales spent many years as a coach in Seattle. Raheem Morris, he was interim coach of the Falcons 3 years ago, went 4-7. The former Tampa Bay Bucs head coach gets another shot. Head coach in Atlanta. He beat out 13 other candidates for the job, including Bill Belichick. Eagles officially hired Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator. Deebo Samuel practiced with the Niners yesterday. Limited, but he practiced. And Mark, did you hear the story? Patriots wide receiver Kayshon Boutte arrested for illegal sports betting while he was at LSU.
Bet at least 6 games, at least 6 times bet on LSU football.
So over a 13-month period from April of 22 to May of 23, he stopped gambling right after he was drafted in the 6th round by the Patriots. Mark, they say he used an alias to make 8,900 bets in 13 months.
His alias was his name. His usernames were not that suspicious.
Kind of like ESPN with the fake Emmys?
Right.
17 bets on college football, including 6 LSU games when he was playing for them. Yeah, that's a no-no. By the way, Ravens 4-point favorite over the Chiefs. Some places it's 3.5. That's the 3 o'clock game Sunday, 6:30. Niners 7-point favorite over the Lions. Home teams in the conference championship games have won 8 of 10 on both sides. Big upset in the Australian Open. Djokovic taken out in 4 sets in the semis by 22-year-old Italian Sinner. Sinner to face the winner of Zverev and Medvedev. Zverev is up 2-1. The women's final is set. Second seed Sabalenka against the 12 seed Zhang. NBA. The Celtics shot 64%. They hit 22 threes. They embarrassed the Heat in Miami. 143-110. That's 5 losses in a row for the Heat. By the way, the Knicks embarrassed the Nuggets at the Garden. 122-84. T-Wolves have the best record in the West. They beat Brooklyn 96-94. Sock'em with the triple-double for the Pacers, 12 better than the Sixers. Sacramento held off Golden State 134-133. Wizards fired their head coach, Wes Unseld Jr. yesterday. College hoops, only one ranked team. They were on the road. We called it. Oregon State, outright. Forget the 18 points. Outright. 83-80 at the buzzer. In-state, JU, a loser. North Florida, a winner. FGCU lost by 26 at home to Lipscomb. Gave up 58 points in the second half. Ouch. Stetson edge Austin P 83-82. FIU, a loser at Western Kentucky. On the women's side, Florida State's ranked. They lost to Duke by 42 yesterday. A good one. Top 10 matchup. South Carolina remained unbeaten. They're 18-0. They beat LSU in Baton Rouge 76-70. Miami gave North Carolina a run. Tar Heels are ranked. Miami lost 66-61. Winners on the women's side, FGCU, FIU, Stetson. Losers, FAU, JU, North Florida, and the Gators. Hockey. Kucherov with a goal and 2 assists. Stamkos, a goal and assist. One of those was his 1100th point in the NHL.
His power play goal last night was artistry by the Tampa Bay Lightning. They had the puck on the string for 15 seconds, just zipping it around, and Stamkos finally finishes it with a one-timer. Man, was it a thing of beauty.
Lightning doubled up the Coyotes 6-3. Patrick Waz returned to Montreal, ruined by a late Canadiens goal, 4-3 over the Islanders. Wings shut out the Flyers 3-0. Carolina edged Jersey 3-2. The Edmonton Oilers have won 15 in a row. Franchise record, no Canadian teams ever had a longer winning streak, 3-0 over Chicago. Baseball news, Texas adds righty reliever David Robertson, who's been really effective the last few years, except when he got traded to the Marlins. Then, for whatever reason, he pitched badly. He'll be 39 in April. He signed a one-year deal for $11 million. That's pretty good work if you can get it. And Arizona signed Jock Peterson, 1 year, $9.5 million. He was an all-star 2 years ago. Last year, not so much. Mark, have you heard Anthony Kim? Remember the golfer Anthony Kim?
Yeah.
We had him on the show when he was a young up-and-comer. Norman had him at the Shark Shootout. Invited Anthony Kim before he really broke through. Yeah, that was a long time ago. He has not played on the PGA Tour in 12 years. He wants to come back. He's actually weighing an offer from LIV. He's 38 years old and hasn't played a competitive round of golf in 12 years. Steven Yeager, 12 under, is a one-shot lead. We're midway through the Farmers Insurance Classic at Torrey Pines. See, CBS has to have the golf over by Saturday night because they got that AFC Championship game Sunday. See, and Nelly Korda and Lydia Ko in Bradenton are tied for the lead at 6 under in the Drive On Championship. And at 10 minutes after the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So a little abbreviated version there, but I think we hit most of the notes.
Got the Cliff Notes version there, did you?
Yeah, I think so. I can
pass the test off of that.
I think you can. You could pass it. I don't know if you can ace it, okay? And, maybe you can get a B off of what I just gave you.
Well, what grading scale are we going with? Are we doing the plus, the minus?
We're doing the Michigan grading scale. We're a 90s and A, damn it. None of this 93 crap.
Was 80 a B, by the way?
Yeah.
Does that mean 80 was a B? Wow.
We did the minuses thing, but yeah, 80 was a B minus. 80 to 83 was a B minus.
Unbelievable. I had to get
70 to 73 was a C minus.
That makes so much more sense, though. Not anything above a 90s an A, 80s is the B, 70s a C. Yeah, just come on. What are we doing here?
I might have actually gotten into Rutgers with that grading scale. Man, that would have been fantastic. Which one are you more surprised about? Dave Canales to Carolina, Raheem Morris to Atlanta? Or are you equally as surprised?
Equally surprised because of the whole Raheem Morris being the interim coach in Atlanta. I mean, they had him there, and 3 years later, we made a mistake. or upon further review, we're going to give you a shot. That one just seems odd to me. But they both are surprise hires. I'm not as surprised in Carolina because it seems that I don't think any of the big name coaches wanted Carolina. I don't think it was a matter of they couldn't hire Vrabel. I don't think Vrabel wanted to work for him.
Well, what surprised me was that Vrabel was supposed to have a second interview yesterday. And by lunchtime yesterday, Canales was hired. So did that second interview even take place? That's what I want to know. But I will say it looks like Carolina is trying to do. Remember, John Lynch lined up with Kyle Shanahan? I mean, they're lining Dan Morgan and Dave Canales up together here and giving them a 6-year deal, which was exactly what San Francisco did 7 years ago. They brought Lynch and Kyle Shanahan in, both in a job they'd never had before, and gave them both 6-year contracts. And obviously that's worked out pretty well. Now we'll see if Dave Tepper can just stay the heck out of the way and stop screwing up his organization.
Just give the man an ice bucket, shut the suite door, and tell him not to communicate with anybody.
Stop throwing drinks at fans. Either that or let them throw them back. One or the other. That's all we ask. Trent Bally and the play of the day coming up on Miller and Moulton.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So I have to have a echocardiogram today after the show.
Okay.
And, it's when you get on the treadmill and have to get the heart rate up to like 170. And I'll sweat like I did the last time I did one of these was like 3 years ago or whatever, right? Because I've got something with my ticker that they keep an eye on. And the last time I did one, the lady that was after me is looking at me, and I am just dripping in sweat. The look on this poor lady's face was just agony.
I had to do those every 3 months. I still do. I have to do them often just for the whole chemo stuff.
Right.
I've never had an issue with my heart, thank God, knock on wood. But like the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm just like, you're going to make me do this right now. Like why do I have to do this? Granted, I'm grateful for it, but it's just. It's one of those things that's like, come on. Maybe I'll take my chances here. I can't joke about that, though. My mom will freak out.
Yeah, moms are good at that.
My old goal is to get this thing done quickly enough so I can get back for my tea time at 1:14. That's really all I care about.
Well, what time's it at? Noon?
11. I'm blowing up. It's in
I don't want to
Naples.
jinx you.
It's in Naples. It's the drive. It's going to be an hour drive each way. 45 minutes.
You drink on the course?
Yes.
Very good.
Where else would he drink?
Good point.
Not heavily, but I it's like shooting pool. I'm better with a couple in me.
Or euchre.
Wow. God, what a great word that is. I haven't played euchre in so long. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Nobody. I'll tell you what, though. During the pandemic, when it was lockdown and we were all forced to be in the same house. By the way, my family had more fun during lockdown than ever.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was the best time of my life. All 5 of us just crammed into, we had so much fun. Ordering cases of beer, wiping them down outside, you know, when you had to do that. And at least that's how it was in Michigan. But my dad taught us euchre, and it was...
Oh, you didn't know before then?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I had tried to learn, couldn't figure it out. So my
Gotcha.
dad finally sat us down and hammered it into our brain.
Yeah, as Arch points out, we don't know what lockdown is in Florida because we didn't have it for very long.
Yeah, it was different way different down here.
It started on a Monday. It ended on a Wednesday. That was lockdown in Florida.
Yeah, up in Michigan, you had to order your groceries delivered, and you had to wipe them down on the out. That's what they were telling you when they got set on the porch.
I was too, though. I was washing all my vegetables in the sink, and come on.
Nobody knew anything.
By the way, Paul, thanks for thinking of us last night. He had the club's Mexican buffet taco bar, 2 plates and 2 desserts. Way to go.
Away, Paul.
I found a place yesterday about 1,000 feet from here. There's a buffet. I am going to crush it.
We found a nice Irish bar for you for lunch.
Don't know what to tell you. There's a buffet 1,000 feet away.
Good.
All right. Plus, I can't go to a bar. I got to drive.
You can have I've been in a bar with you a million times. You can go to an Irish bar, have a nice corned beef sandwich and a Diet Coke and call it a day.
Go to an Irish bar and have a Diet Coke.
First off, you're going to have a beer anyhow. It's not like you're going to get all gassed up
That's
and
true.
drive.
No, it's true. But I can go to Louisville and hit a couple places there. I was taking notes last night. So Anthony Kim can get like some sponsors exemptions. He's got some past status. He wouldn't get like his tour card back and play a full schedule, but he could get into tournaments. Here's the problem. He claimed some money off of a disability insurance plan many years ago. And the thought is that he may have to pay it all back. And it might be $10 million if he decides to come back and play. Which might be why he would take an LIV spot, because he may need the guaranteed money to pay the insurance.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. We had Gary Danielson on about 45 minutes ago. Last time the Lions and Niners met in the playoffs was 40 years ago, the divisional round. Gary Danielson against Joe Montana, 24-23 Niners. Last second field goal missed by Eddie Murray in Detroit, or otherwise they would advance to the NFC Championship game. Gary reminisced. Talked about overcoming adversity in the game. He threw a bunch of interceptions early. Yeah, played a really good fourth quarter, and the Lions nearly won. And now, you know, hometown guy that he is, he's rooting for Detroit in a big way. On Sunday, he thinks they match up pretty well. He thinks both teams feel that they match up well against the other. Do you agree with that sentiment, by the way, that if you're the Niners, you go, ooh, I kind of like this matchup. If you're the Lions, you go, I kind of like this matchup.
David, I think the Niners like every matchup they have unless it's against the Baltimore Ravens right now.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first thing. I don't think there's a matchup that the Niners feel is a bad matchup for them. I think everything is on how healthy Samuel is. That's the most important part of their offense for this game.
I also think it's important to note that I think Detroit, I heard a couple national pundits making this case this week that Detroit might be more dangerous on the road. And I know you guys aren't big on the whole home field advantage thing either way, but this coach, there's not a single coach of the other 31 in the NFL right now that you'd rather have to be in this spot. A franchise that's been this battered, beaten, scarred, and you're going on the road as a 7-point underdog. You want Dan Campbell in that spot. So I think from that aspect, David, 100% Detroit likes this matchup because they're looking at him saying, hey, let's get some pressure on Purdy. No one believes in us, even though, it's not the Kirby Smart version of that. But
The thing that I would feel good about as a Lions fan, there's one guy on your team who has experience in this game, but it's arguably the most important guy. It's a quarterback. And he's played this game on the road. He went to New Orleans.
Yes.
And outplayed Drew Brees. Now, they should have lost. That was a horrendously missed call at the end of regulation. The Saints should have kicked the field goal, won it at the end of regulation. But Jared Goff outplayed Drew Brees in New Orleans in an NFC Championship game and led the Rams to victory. So if you got to have one guy, Mark, with experience in this situation, it's probably pretty good. It's the quarterback, right?
100%.
by the way, wasn't Dan Campbell on the Saints staff at that time?
I believe so.
He must have been. Wow. Sorry, go ahead.
No, who else would you want to have experience other than your quarterback? It's the most important position, obviously. He doesn't seem that he's I don't want to say he's unflappable because I don't, every quarterback, every player has the ability to get nervous in a spot. But you have to look at Goff with what he's gone through in his career and say, pressure-wise, I don't know how much this moment gets to him at all.
Well, and also it's a little thing, and it's been a couple years, but he used to play this team twice a year. He's played in this building, 4 or 5 times before. Also, the Niners haven't drastically changed their defensive style of play over the years, even going from Salah to, D'Amico Ryans to Steve Wilkes. It's still a 4-3, 4-2-5. It's, they play a lot of zone in the secondary. They don't blitz a lot. The defense has not radically changed since Goff was with the Rams. So, if I'm a Lions fan, Goff should be as comfortable as you could be in this spot, I would think, based on his past experience. Gary said something interesting in which he said, hey, if I had to look back, we threw the ball more than we should have 40 years ago. I threw 38 times. Probably should have been more like 28. And, all three of us watched the Lions last week against Tampa. And at various times in the game thought, wow, Detroit's throwing it a lot. I thought they'd run it a little more. Now, when it was money time, they ran it.
But you're exactly right, David. On first down in particular, the Lions were throwing the ball a lot. And a lot of that had to do with the Bucs blitz. When you've got Laporta, St. Brown, and Gibbs, it's easy to get the ball out quickly. And Goff's been great to his credit. But you're exactly right. They got to try to establish the run against San Fran.
Well, and not just establish the run, be committed to the run. It's very easy for coordinators to have a couple of first down runs that don't get anything and abandon first down runs. And now you've put your team, you've thrown a complete pass, you're behind the chains. Now we're throwing the whole game. It's not just running the ball, it's committing to the run. And I think Detroit will do that.
Niners defensive tackles against the interior of the Lions offensive line, which got banged up last week. The one guard's going to be out. Now the replacement has played, and he's a decent replacement, but still not the starter. Ragnow, not going to be 100%. Niners have 2 very good defensive tackles. To me, That's where, Mark, if I'm the Niners, I need to create a pressure point up the middle. All right. And to me, that's the key, because I like the Lions tackles against the Niners edges, even though I know one of the edges is Bosa. I don't know if there's a tackle playing any better in the NFL right now than Penei Sewell. He's devouring everyone who lines up against him.
By every metric, he's the number one tackler.
So if I'm if I'm San Francisco, I'm moving Bosa to the other side. Seriously, I'm getting him away from Sewell. That's the toughest matchup right now for an edge rusher in the league is Penei Sewell. I'm putting him on the other side as often as I can, or lining him up even in the middle, putting some speed up against their interior linemen. But so if I'm the Lions, I like my tackles in this game, even going up against Chase Young and Bosa. But curious who wins the battle in those middle 2-3 gaps, Mark.
Well, you wonder too how much stunting they'll do back around for a Bosa to try to get him through the middle with the pressure, and then looping guys back through, and even occasionally blitzing back through the middle. Because what does that do, David? That puts the quarterback in a tough spot. If you're able to pressure up the middle, that puts your quarterback in a very difficult spot.
And by the way, Bosa, Chase Young, and Taylor Decker, who might potentially be on either one of those guys, all from Ohio State. They're all Buckeyes, just for what it's worth.
And can the Lions O-linemen get to the Niners linebackers at all? Because those two guys are really good, and they're sideline to sideline players, and there aren't a bunch of linebackers like that anymore.
And I mean, the overly simplistic thing, both these teams turned, got a couple of takeaways. Can the Lions get it? Because to me, the Lions don't win unless they can get a takeaway.
And if they rattle Purdy, I mean, look, Brock Purdy's been great at being a game manager and for what that team needs. But if they rattle his cage, he unravels.
But catch that ball that he throws away.
Yes.
I mean, that dropped interception you've got to have. Because to me, Detroit, I don't know if Detroit can win this without winning the turnover battle.
We'll make our picks next hour. Right now, it is time for the play of the day. Trent, what do you have?
So 2 days in a row, we go to another country for the old play of the day. We're going down under to the Australian Open. This match began at 3:30 a.m. Eastern time, but I was tuned in. Very possibly the greatest of all time, Novak Djokovic, taking on number 4, Jannik Sinner, the Italian. Sinner got him in 4 sets. He won the first 2. Joker wins the 3rd set in a tiebreaker. Sinner won the final set 6-3, and here's how match point sounded from Melbourne.
Sensational from Jannik. He is through to his first major final. And in doing so, becomes the only Italian player in history to reach an Australian Open singles final.
Little tough to hear with the thunderous crowd, but if you couldn't, Sinner is the first Italian in an Australian Open singles final. He's the first individual ever to beat Djokovic in the semifinals in the Australian Open. And there is your Molly Maid play of the day.
Sensational.
Look at you, New York Post headline writer. Well done.
239-774-5839. That's the number for Molly Maid. Call today. Give your spouse the gift of a clean house. You want it. She wants it. We all want it.
And by want it, you mean Molly Maid.
Exactly.
Just want to make that point abundantly clear.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you can get in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Yes. Yes, the Bauer is the highest ranking card in Trump suit. The same color Jack is the left Bauer. That is the second ranking card. So if clubs were Trump, the second highest card is the Jack of Spades.
It's really, once you learn it, it's not difficult at all.
No.
But the process of learning it, and it's more difficult teaching it to people because you're looking at their face and they're not getting any of it.
So, David, I've got a little tidbit here for you. We'll do this on air. But the last time that not one of Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic reached the Aussie final.
Oh, wow.
I've got some info here for you. Just saw this tweet right before the show. I thought it was fantastic. And they are in the fifth now.
Yeah,
Serbia was up two sets to love, 2 tie breaks.
Yeah. They'll all be rooting for Sinner. Nobody likes Medvedev.
I think the Zverev guy would get a little, but yeah, you're probably right. But the Zverev seems to be likable.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
Zverev. He's
rather.
my favorite player since
Really?
yeah, since Roger retired, which is, it's only been a year, but I like this guy. He's young, German, good-looking guy. Hasn't won yet, he's due.
From the shot of the box, is either girlfriend, fiance, or wife is
Oh, she's good looking.
yeah.
I follow him on socials and he posts a lot with her, and
Yeah, she's stunning.
look out.
She's got those eyes like Jeter's wife.
Yeah.
No, she does. She's got
That's
those.
a good point.
She does. That's what when they showed her, it looked like Jeter's wife. Looked like they could be sisters.
Sinner said he learned a lot he got beaten straight sets in the semis at Wimbledon last year by Djokovic, and he said, I learned a lot. He's actually beaten him 3 times since. Sinner has.
Well, and they'd said he was red hot after he won his semis match.
First
quarters match, rather.
I think the tiebreak he lost to Djokovic, the first set he had lost all fortnight. You want to do our picks now or at 8:38?
We can do them now.
So do the thing that you wanted, the little footnote, and then we'll do the picks.
Sounds like a plan.
I think you guys should just do play-by-play for Medvedev Zverev.
I thought you were going to go to Corvallis for the play.
I did too.
Oh, there were plenty of candidates today, but Joker losing for the first time in the semifinals. But even though that it's tennis, you can't really get a great radio call or anything. But it was definitely worth spending some time on for a minute.
They don't. ESPN doesn't even send their announcers anymore, do they? Fowler and them do it from the studio in Connecticut.
Correct.
That's awful.
Cheap. Yeah, it is ridiculous. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. We'll look back at all the news yesterday in the NFL. Carolina and Atlanta. A couple of surprise hirings, at least to many. And then we'll talk about who's going to get the Washington and Seattle jobs, although most people feel it's already a foregone conclusion in both places. The future of Bill Belichick. Oh, yeah, and we'll preview the NFC and AFC championship games with Pat Kirwan coming up in about 20 minutes' time.
We've put our poll question up, just who you think is going to play in the Super Bowl. We've got the 4 choices up. Right now, over 70% of you have the Ravens winning, and about just as many of you have them playing the Lions as have them playing the Niners.
Ooh.
Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or Florida Sports Network on Twitter or floridasportsnetwork.com.
How much of that is fandom, the Michiganders along the west coast of Florida coming out of the woodwork? How much of that is, I mean, the Lions are the most popular sentimental team left. All the surveys that are being done right now as to, who it is that you're rooting for. Because let's face it, most people watching don't have a rooting interest in the game, so they have to pick a team, and they are all in on this Detroit story.
At this moment in time, David, I can safely say that the Detroit Lions are America's team, David. At this moment in time. Won't be for long, but right now in the moment, they're America's team. Everybody's a Lion fan today, David.
Well, Mark, they have won as many playoff games in the last 2 weeks as the so-called America's team has won in the last 10 years.
Then there's that. I got to give you this little factoid. I saw this morning. I've been waiting for a time to put it in because Djokovic lost overnight. If you're just waking up, he lost his semifinal match, so he will not be in the Australian Open final. David, the last time that Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic failed to reach the Australian final, George W. Bush had just begun his second presidential term. The iPhone, YouTube, and Twitter didn't exist.
What are we talking, 05?
Yeah. Djokovic and Nadal had yet to win a major.
Wow. I'm curious, was the 05 Australian Open final, I mean, was that Agassi? I mean, does it say who the two were?
No, in the tweet it didn't.
Made it?
I will look it up.
Because that was like the last big year of Agassi's career. So, wow. Nearly 20 years since either Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic has not been in the men's final down under. That's well.
Murat Safin won the men's title.
He beat Federer, right?
Big Russian.
Or no, he didn't beat Federer.
No, he beat Leighton Hewitt.
Ah, there you go.
Two guys I've never heard of, to be honest.
Hewitt was a pretty good player.
I'm a huge tennis guy. I've never.
And he was an Aussie. Okay, so he tried desperately. I think he made the final 2 or 3 times. He was trying desperately to, because an Aussie hasn't won, I think, since you got to go back to the great, era of the 60s and 70s when they had Newcomb and Laver and quite a few others that were winning majors.
So the crowd was in Andy Murray, Wimbledon territory?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So, hot damn, nearly 20 years. I'll be damned. Well, we talked about it on the women's side, when Serena came and went a couple years ago that, what an era this is. And when are we going to see anything like it? Well, Federer's gone, Nadal's all but gone, and Djokovic's 36. So we shall see. The other semifinal, by the way, in a 5th set. So we'll let you know who wins for the 13 of you that care before the end of the show.
Come on.
Well, you're one of the 13, so get in line.
Let's go 16. That's Jared Goff's number. Gary Danielson also wore 16.
All right. Let's start at 3:00. Chiefs, Ravens, Baltimore, either 3.5 or 4-point favorite, depending on where you look. AFC home teams have won 8 of the last 10 conference championships. Bengals 2 years ago, a winner. Patriots 5 years ago, a winner. Both times against the Chiefs. Wouldn't it be ironic if Kansas City could win one on the road? I love this matchup for Baltimore. I do. I think their pass rush will get to Mahomes. It's versatile. It can come at you from many different places and from many different people. And I think that they will wear down the Chiefs up front. The Ravens don't give up big plays. I'm not sure the Chiefs have many people to get big plays. And I don't think, Mark, that you can systematically drive the ball down the field on the Ravens enough to win. I love Baltimore in this game unless Lamar and company screw it up. I love Baltimore in this game. I can't bet them enough. And I love Kyle Hamilton one-on-one against Kelsey because you can't zone Kelsey. He'll catch 15 balls if you zone him. You have to go man-to-man, at least underneath. And Kyle Hamilton might be the best safety to cover a Kelsey in the league. I love the Ravens in this matchup. Love them.
Well, when I look at this game, I don't think you're wrong. But the one thing that I've noticed in getting ready for this game is that Baltimore, as David said, can get to the quarterback with 4, and they change up how they blitz linebackers. They, at the same time, even though he's talking about Hamilton being in the man, they zone most of their linebackers. So what that means is if Mahomes steps up in the pocket, he doesn't have the ability to run like he does on other teams when they were going in man.
I think the Ravens defense is the one defense remaining that you would consider a matchup nightmare. I know the Chiefs are on par if you look at every single stat or every single metric, but that Ravens defense, like you said, Mark, the ability to get to the quarterback only rushing 4 is huge.
The other side of this is Kansas City's offense is taken off against 2 completely depleted defenses. You can't discount the fact that Miami and Buffalo were not playing with a full defense.
100%.
Also, defenses that up front couldn't do anything. Could not do anything. The only way the Dolphins got pressure, they brought the house. And Buffalo didn't get any pressure at all.
Now, you could argue whether or not that's a springboard for Kansas City to an offense that has struggled this year to get the 2 playoff games and sort of take off from there, but I'm with you.
Valdez Scantling better catch the long balls thrown to him again, which he doesn't normally do. I love the way Rice is playing. Pacheco's banged up. I still think we get a really close game. Baltimore 27, Kansas City 24.
So you're going to take the points.
I'm taking the points in Patrick Mahomes.
Is that because of that 9-0-1 ATS stat. Is that why you're taking the points?
That I've got a ref that favors road teams. Worst covering percentage for home teams in the league is when this referee's there.
David, he just brought up your nugget from yesterday, your Italy nugget. Chicken nugget.
It is.
The refs.
I do love it when the two nuggets, join forces and form the L.
Well, it's so much easier to dip that nugget.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. Yes. Excuse me, I need another packet of sauce. I know you only get 2. I need a third. Charge me. You had too many Italys in the thing. They were too big. I needed more sauce. I like the Ravens. I'm laying the points. I like the 27, by the way. I could see Baltimore getting there. I'm going to go 27-17. Ravens over the Chiefs. I think Baltimore just wears them down. I think Kansas City does a little something early, but I think that Baltimore just at the point of attack wears them down. This could also be, by the way, where, this is third playoff game for Chiefs. This is second playoff game for Baltimore. This could come back and, the legs for the Chiefs up front defensively, it could be a little more fatigued than Baltimore. Okay, here we go. Here's the money game. Here it is. America's team, the Detroit Lions, getting 7 in San Francisco. Listen, I love the points. I said that Monday, and if the Niners can beat them by more than 7, I tip my hat to them and say, you know what? Well done, boys. Good job. I love the points. To me, the only question mark is Detroit going to win? Because I'm pretty sure they're going to cover. 3, 4, 6. I'm pretty sure they can lose by that margin. The question is, will they beat them? Because can they beat them? Of course they can. Will they? I don't think so. I think they will walk off the field, Mark, the way Gary and the Lions walked off the field 40 years ago, going, wow, we really had them. We had a shot. Damn. You're going to hate this. 27-26 Niners.
Ouch!
A 2-point conversion gone awry.
Oh, God.
I have spent this entire week trying to figure out a way to pick the Detroit Lions. Trying to figure out where they're better than San Francisco. They're better at the offensive line. Their offensive line's better than the Niners.
It is.
Their quarterback play is equal.
At
believe
least.
that. I believe their quarterback play is equal.
I agree. At least.
But even though St. Brown's a great receiver, I think that's a push. When you add in Samuel on the other side, everything to me is depending on how healthy he is. If he's 50% and the Lions hit him early and he can't play and walks off the field, then I'm wrong about my pick.
These two teams are they almost mirror each other player for player if you go down the line. Seriously. I mean, the Niners have that extra receiver.
The Niners linebackers are far better.
Oh, yes. But I'm saying on offense.
Yeah,
even Laporta and Kittle.
They're close. There's a lot of areas, but the Niners defensively are just better.
They are.
Much better. Much better.
Here's something. Tell me, like, the Lions secondary has really struggled the last 4 games. I mean, they're 3-1 in their last 4, giving up 347 yards passing a game. 347 yards passing.
3 of those games at home.
And what's Campbell talked about all week? The importance of stopping the run. He has said flat out that the most important thing is stopping McCaffrey and stopping the run, which the Lions will have to do.
And they have done, to their credit, mostly. But McCaffrey's a different animal.
McCaffrey's a different animal. The Niners are a different animal. I've never wanted to be more wrong. 34-24 San Francisco.
I think it's closer than that. I do think that experience in this moment will help the Niners. This is the fourth time in 5 years that they've played in this game. Detroit's never played in it before. And I think it's going to be close, and it's going to be close in the final hour. And I do think the Niners, having been in this spot before, will help them.
Pretty interesting. You guys differ on both games. Mark has the Chiefs to cover and the Niners to cover. David has the Ravens and the Lions.
But we both have the same two teams winning.
You have the same result, but the spread,
Right,
exactly. It's interesting for all you keeping score at home. Follow along this weekend. Team Miller or Team Moulton? Who are you?
He's so fired up.
He can't contain himself.
He's bouncing off walls right now.
You guys are regretting giving me an on button for my microphone.
Not at all.
Just shut it
I
off.
love the fandom. I hope it's there on Monday. I hope you are just coming in on a euphoric high Monday morning. I guess I've never wanted to be more wrong, but I think it's going to be San Francisco and Baltimore. I think they're the two best teams. I think they've been that way for a while, and I think that's what we see in the Super Bowl. We will find out what Pat Kirwan thinks. He is next to talk NFC and AFC championship game on Miller and Moulton. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. Over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, fellas.
Morning, Pat.
You hear me well today?
It's got kind of Pat. Whatever you did last week, if you can do that, it was because it's got that same weird buzz.
Well, I got 3 headsets. That's why I'm asking. It's amazing. I use the headset I have on now for everything else, and only your show does it.
Oh, I love it.
How's that?
That's fantastic.
Perfect, Pat. There we go.
Nothing's perfect. We're trying like your lines. Nothing's perfect.
Hey, get the digs in while you can. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
Hey, have I ever put digs on you and the Lions? No,
No.
I'm the only one on record as loyal as hell.
No, you're exactly right.
It's very true.
You've been on the Roar Lion Roar train.
Yeah, but the moment of truth's here, bro. I don't know.
Time to line them up.
Well, you never know.
This week has been euphoric. I'll tell you that much.
Well, maybe next week will be too. Can you imagine if you go to the Super Bowl?
Oh my goodness. 2 weeks, Pat. I'll get 2 weeks to bask in it.
Remember this: the NFL decides who goes to the Super Bowl.
Oh God. Well, in that case, I ain't feeling too good about it, but we'll see.
When that famous meeting they have with the officials before the game, that usually confirms victory.
Yep.
Oh, stop it.
Come on, David. You're a Giants fan. You don't get it. 4 Super Bowls. David, who's your favorite Giant ever?
It's that's a tortured question for a Giants fan because it's impossible not as a player to have absolutely adored Lawrence Taylor.
LT, baby.
But he's not a good human being.
Yeah.
But as a fan, you turned your back on that part. Well, but I will say the really, really ugly part of LT happened after his playing career was over. I mean, but
well, first off, all that was going on when he was playing.
Well, exactly. It just
but George
didn't come
Martin
out.
was trying to take care of him.
Hey, what about Strahan for the later days?
I mean, there was nothing like Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, you don't. There really wasn't.
Oh, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying
but
for the
but just, and also at the time he came around, the Giants hadn't had a dude in 20 years, and he was the baddest dude in the league. I mean, I mean, when Bill Belichick stops everybody from talking, they start bringing up people, and he goes, "Hey, it was Lawrence Taylor. Enough." I mean, that it's like talking running backs forever, and people going, "You're talking about Jim Brown." I mean,
right. Yeah, like people. What was it? People talking about Micah Parsons as Lawrence Taylor.
Well, Lawrence Taylor changed blocking schemes. Bill Walsh and the Niners came up with a blocking scheme, and Gibbs and the Redskins because of Lawrence Taylor. That had never been used before.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday. And it's time for Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat headed to Baltimore, which is, of course, where the AFC Championship game will take place at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, about a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's fun to have just 2 games to work on all week. I mean, you can over paralyze yourself at times. So I spent half the week working on the Senior Bowl and the other half on these games and taking a hard look at things that are important to me, how all these teams and these quarterbacks have done against the other playoff teams throughout the year, because that's the best schedule to study. So, I've reached my conclusions, if you will.
What did you find out in your research? Is there a couple of glaring things that stuck out at you? I mean, I know you're big on how they played against other playoff teams, but what stuck out for you, Pat?
Well, I'll start with Baltimore. Lamar, his 5 rushing touchdowns are more than the other 3 quarterbacks combined, because they all have a 0. So there's a run dimension that Baltimore has a tremendous advantage on. Then you look at his touchdown passes. He's thrown 18 touchdown passes in those 9 games against playoff teams. He's superior to everyone throwing touchdown. Purdy's close at 15. Goff only throws 10 in the 8 games against those guys, and Mahomes throws 11. So we all think of Lamar as the runner, and we kind of ignore, oh, he's getting better as a passer. The guy has 18 touchdown passes against playoff teams. And then you look at some of the other things Baltimore does. I mean, then I looked at their defenses. When you start looking at defenses, Baltimore versus Kansas City, okay, postseason playoff teams, they're giving up less points than Kansas City. They're giving up less rushing yards than Kansas City. They're giving up less passing yards than Kansas City. And the turnover is atrocious. 18 by Baltimore, 5 by Kansas City. We like Kansas City's defense, but Baltimore trumps them in every area that I think is important. Rushing yards, passing yards, points, and takeaways. So on the other side, in the NFC game, Detroit's been a damn good run defense, giving up 80 yards a game, but so is San Francisco. They're giving up 90 yards a game. They fall apart, though, when it comes to taking the ball away. San Francisco's got 15 of those, and our friends up in Detroit have 9. So it's pretty close there. And I was listening to 2 of you guys talking about it, and San Francisco's a little stingier and giving up points, 18.5 to 22. So the defenses are close. I'll acknowledge that I think San Francisco is a little bit better. But on the other side, Baltimore, to me, is even as good as I think Kansas City is. I like Baltimore a lot more, especially at home.
But then there's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And you can argue right now they are the 2 best at what they do in the league. How much can those 2 overcome what all 3 of us would argue is a deeper, more complete Ravens team?
Well, Mahomes has done that many times. So the answer, if you love Mahomes, is he always does it. He always delivers that, and he has. And it's kind of like, at this point, looking at him like Brady. Do you ever bet against Brady in the postseason? Even when the team was inferior, they would still beat most of the teams they had to play. So Mahomes is always a magic man. He's not going to threaten anybody with a running game. He hasn't rushed for a touchdown all year. So I think he's still that guy, but I don't think the guys around him are those guys. When we start saying Rashid Rice is come on, they can take him away. And I think Kyle Hamilton is the guy is going to be all over Kelsey. So not a lot of teams have that matchup player. So to answer that, Mahomes does not have the weaponry he's had in the past.
And Pat, you just said, you just brought it up. He's not rushed for a touchdown, but he does rush for first downs. And the way Baltimore plays defense, that's tough for him because they only are bringing 4 guys. And what I've been watching, a lot of shows and reading a lot of things, that they don't really play a lot of man coverage. That's where Mahomes can run and escape and get first downs. So his legs are going to have to be a part of it, but will they be able to?
Well, when you have sacks from 16 different guys and they can scheme it up, it doesn't mean they're blitzing all the time. Sometimes they're dropping someone out and setting someone else. The mileage they got out of Van Noy, the starters, is so underrated. And he's so scheme-oriented because of him and the way he's been trained in prior stops. He can do a lot of different things. He can be a curl dropper. He can be a blitzer. He can be a flat defender. He can cut X, which is, get right under the slant route stuff. So he really has helped them. And Jadeveon, it's so amazing when you put a Raven uniform on a guy, they become better players. Boomer used to say to me, I don't care what Bengal you got. Put a Steeler uniform on him, and he's a better player.
Should the Chiefs run the ball? Baltimore has been, it's nitpicking here, but teams have run the ball a little bit on the Ravens. It's just that they fall behind. They can't stay patient. They don't stick with it. I thought the Chiefs' offense looked very different against Buffalo when they gave the ball to Pacheco. And he, got to the edge a few times. And it was like, hey, running the football. Look at that. I mean, I think the Chiefs should run the ball 30 times Sunday.
I do too, but they won't.
I
They have
know.
a head coach that proved I'm right. The last 4 games against playoff teams, these are the rushing yards for those teams. Ready? Detroit 84, Pittsburgh 87, Cleveland 93, Houston 72. Those are the last 4 games against playoff teams. Couldn't get to 100 yards rushing. I also think if Baltimore gets a little bit of a lead early, you know where the run game's going.
Yep.
It's going into the box for shipping back to Kansas City.
If you're wrong, why, if you know what I mean, Pat? And
Yeah.
I think we all have Baltimore. So if we're all wrong, what is it that Kansas City's got to do to win the game?
Well, it was what David said about Mahomes. He's still a magic man. And he will, this is my experience with great quarterbacks. The more desperate they are, the more dangerous they are. And I lived in a world with Jim Kelly and Dan Marino and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. You know what happens? They become the reason we all know they're Hall of Famers. They can be dangerous, and he could land up making some plays. He has rushed more in the postseason than he ever does in the regular season. He's probably going to get forced into more of that. And I think Baltimore, I'm going to talk to Patrick Queen in about 2 hours. I think those 2 linebackers are dying to blow him up.
Yeah, I actually think Baltimore is going to bring pressure against Kansas City. I think they look at the Chiefs line and they say, yeah, we got mismatches all over the place. I think also, Pat, because they feel they can cover Kelsey with Hamilton, they can cover their wide receiving core, that they're going to say, we don't need 7 guys back to cover these guys. I think the Ravens are going to be bringing 5 and 6 guys early and often.
As long as they don't get greedy, I'm with you. Now, take a look at the holding calls by Kansas City. We all know how bad Juwan Taylor is. 7 holding calls in the regular season, but he's not alone, which surprised me. You ready for the rest of these guys? Creed Humphrey, 4, Smith, 6, and Donovan Smith, who was limited in his playtime, he had 4. They have 22 sacks, 22 holding calls from their offensive line. And I think Baltimore knows they can dominate. I had Paul Alexander break down the front 4 of Baltimore against that line. And he said to me, everyone's talking that Taylor's played a little better. I'm one of them. I said it. He's played better because he hasn't given up a lot of holding calls and sacks. But as Paul said, it's because Mahomes turned his clock on and he's getting out of there sooner. He's not waiting. So I do think that they can dominate that offensive line. And I used to love, and I voted for Creed Humphrey for All-Pro. But when you look at these guys, I think they're going to have their problems with Matabuke and everyone else they put in there. So I like that part of them a lot. When you look at Baltimore's offensive line, we don't talk about them as much, but Stanley, 3 holding calls. The guy you worry about is Simpson. Keep your eyes on him because he has 7, and he's got some problems. But Chris Jones, I watched that game twice now. Chris Jones against the run, go look at some of the grades people give him. He's a blue player against the pass. We all know it. But he's not a blue player against the run. And last week, coincidentally, he was on the sideline on a lot of first downs, resting up for this pass rush. So I think they'll run the ball on them. And it's pretty clear off my comments that I'm taking Baltimore, and you guys did too. And I'm thinking home field counts here. I don't think it's a problem.
Pat, I don't know how, we talk about Arrowhead and we talk about all these teams. Baltimore's really being underrated, and I think you'll see it firsthand. That was, Houston had 7 pre-snap penalties in that game. The crowd had to have something to do with that.
Yeah, they are on top of it. And, now Mahomes, we all know he didn't play a lot of games. Yeah, he won a road game last week. It's not that. It's what Baltimore does at home. Let's just take Lamar at home against playoff teams. First off, he's 4-1. That's just 5 games. 14 touchdown passes. 14 of them. And here comes the part they can't handle. 51 runs in those 5 games. That's 10 a game, 320 yards, and multiple touchdowns. So he's going to average 10 runs and about 65 yards. He's going to move the chains 4 or 5 times. And to your first question, Mark, if he doesn't do that, they'll lose. But I think they're going to do it.
Pat, we want to have the same amount of time talking about the Lions and the Niners, so we'll do that after the break. We got about 90 seconds here. Canales to Carolina, Raheem Morris to Atlanta. I know we're all happy for Raheem getting another shot, but choosing Raheem over Belichick, how do you rationalize that?
They keep people in the office one. The ones that thought they were going to get fired if Belichick showed up. They convinced the owner. And look, and I love Raheem. I've known Raheem since high school. I worked with Raheem when he was coming out of Hofstra. He's a wonderful person. But the Falcons already fired him once. What is this? Bird in the hand's worth the one. Oh, you know the story. They know what Belichick was going to do. I feel bad because I had the chance to be like them and snake the next situation. Mr. Hest asked for Bill Parcells. He says, I'm old. I'd like one shot. Get me the best guy. It's Parcells, whatever it takes. They had a chance to get Belichick. They decided not to do it.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chain. CBS's NFL Today Show will break down the Lions and the Niners next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, real quick, I'm putting your guys' picks on the website.
You want them?
No, I got them already because I was writing them down as you guys were talking. But you got Hard Rock has it at 4 and 7 for the spreads. Is that what you want me to put, or do you want me to put?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll take that extra half point.
I mean, it doesn't change your
right.
You both had whatever, but okay, cool.
I had Baltimore 27-17 and the Niners 27-26.
Correct.
Yep.
So the half doesn't come into account in either game. And same with Mark's. Just checking, because that one time that I remember I gave, I think I just put David down for like the money line on something.
No, it might have been when he picked the parlay. He had a teaser.
He teased the Bills down to -4 instead
Right,
of
something
-7.
like that. You flying up today or tomorrow, Pat?
I am flying up to. I'm going to Baltimore on 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
Southwest.
Yeah, it's a nonstop. And
Yep.
You like Baltimore, Pat?
The city?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I go there and have crabs and go to the Ravens practices. That's about it.
The extent of your time in Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't even like the racetrack there. It's too dumpy.
What's your favorite NFL trip to make?
That's a good question. I do like going to Baltimore a lot.
Okay.
They treat me very well when I'm there, and I have a lot of fun, and I know enough guys. You know, with Pete gone in Seattle, that won't be the same. Places I like to really go. I've always enjoyed myself up in New England, but Belichick's gone, and he was always really good to me as well. So I don't know. Some of the guys in the band are gone. I have to maybe ask me at the end of this year.
Yeah, it's going to be different. Very different.
Yeah. Depending on who the GM is at the Chargers, that might become my new favorite.
Yeah, it could be your guy with the Giants, right?
Yep. It's him or the guy from Baltimore. My guy was, he was in a room 2 days ago for 9 hours. So he got the approval from Jim. Jim said I can work with him or the other guy. So there's people interviewing Hortz today. We'll see. I hope my guy gets it.
It's tough not to pick somebody working for the Ravens, though.
Well,
I don't know.
You know,
you mean because they don't ever screw up?
Yeah.
Wait a second. There's another issue altogether. Could be a tan contest.
But also you wonder, you know, the brothers talking, and does John, you know, have any experience with the Ravens guy and can give Jim and say, you know, yeah, I trust this guy.
Oh, he's got that, but maybe John doesn't want to lose him.
Well, that's true.
He does run the draft for them.
Well, then I'd hire him.
Yeah.
That would be a very short interview process. So what do you do for the Ravens again? Well, I run the draft. Well, you're hired.
Mm-hmm.
You can get any job.
No. Seriously. Well, you're hired.
Yeah.
Negotiate the terms with so-and-so and welcome to the organization.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, how often do you think the Chargers are going to wear those dark blue throwbacks? Because Harbaugh's there now. They're going to do the dark blue and the maize and blue deal. I've already seen so many edits on social media. It makes me sick, but
yeah, I think you're overthinking it.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I think
the Michigan and you just came out.
Yeah. Well, he's a Michigan State guy, so that's the problem.
I'm a Sparty.
He doesn't like that maize and blue. Neither do I, for that matter.
I hope I'm wrong, but in this day and age, they're going to please the people.
Listen, they're just hoping to have people in the stands. That's the first thing.
Exactly.
Okay, they just need to get people.
If they're getting people, they're going to let us know real soon how season ticket sales have gone up.
You got that right.
Back in 10 seconds, David.
Thank you, Trent.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, part of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. He's also part of CBS's NFL Today show, CBS with the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game, Sunday at 3 o'clock. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, about a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't Fake fresh. All right, we'll go in depth on the Lions and the Niners in just one moment. Your thoughts on Carolina going Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, and they're going to bring in a business guy apparently to handle contracts, and they're all going to get 6-year deals. It looks to me, Pat, as if Tepper's trying to model the Lynch, Kyle Shanahan 6-year arrangement in Frisco.
He can do all the modeling he wants. He'll fire all these guys before 6 years. We know it. He's an impulsive guy and I feel, okay, let's have a conversation. How long do you think it's going to take before the coach and the GM decide we got to stick together because he's crazy?
I think they've already
By
made
Monday
that handshake.
Yeah. So unless the owner decides to stay in Manhattan and count his money from his hedge fund and stay away from it, he's going to be meddling in the whole thing. He walks around the draft. Who did he hire? I know for a fact that one guy went in there and told him everything he thought was wrong with the team, including him. And he didn't get a chance, but he didn't want the job. So he decided, what the heck? I'm just going to tell this guy what he's doing. And he called him back to take a second dose. He wasn't happy. He actually thought the candidate was going to change his tune and compete for the job. And he just went back and reiterated everything. No, I don't think it's healthy. And they took a quarterback. Do you think that quarterback's going to take him to the promised land? I like your answer.
Well, he has no chance right now, though. I mean, they have one of the 3 worst offensive lines and maybe the worst wide receiver. I mean, their wide receiving core is worse than the Chiefs. All right. I mean, seriously, Bryce Young right now has no shot at staying in the league with what he has around him.
Yeah. So I think it's a tough situation. I like Dan Morgan. Knew him when he was in Seattle. Canales is like there now that he doesn't have a lot of real experience. This is now the owner's still learning how to own. The GM is now going to have to learn to be a GM. The coach is going to have to learn to be a head coach.
Okay.
And guess what? The owner's going to think he's going to help him learn how to do it.
So it'd be fantastic if there was a minor league for these guys to all learn this stuff in, but it happens to be in the National Football League, and it'll be a little more, the scale's a little harder to learn that quickly. All right, we'll move on to the NFC Championship game. Lions and Niners. The Niners are a 7-point favorite in this game. We were trying to break it down, Pat. To me, it just comes down to the Niners' defense is significantly better than the Lions' defense. And that's the difference in this game to me. The offenses are actually close in my estimation. Where do you see this game?
Well, I think you're right. I did all that little work on these two defenses, and San Francisco over and over again shows up as a better defense. I will say this before we go any further. Neither one of these teams can beat Baltimore. You know that these two teams played Baltimore, and between the two quarterbacks that we're going to talk about, they have 0 touchdown passes. So Baltimore is going to win the Super Bowl. That's my final answer on that. In this game, since I already feel that way, I'm looking for reasons to love Detroit. You can't find any. You can find reasons to respect them, but you can't really find them. They give up more points against playoff teams than San Francisco does. San Francisco averages 18.5. They're 22.5. They're slightly better. Detroit is against the run. And we know San Francisco wants to run. But I'll also say this. Kyle bails out on the run more than people think, especially in big games. And he, even when he doesn't have to, go back to the Super Bowl in Atlanta, he gravitated to the pass when he should have just run the ball, finished the game. So everyone said, me included, well, Kyle learned his lesson. He'll never do that again. But he does. All that being said, there's better turnover ratio with San Francisco's defense. Purdy is not running. We all know that. He isn't going anywhere. Goff is going less. 21 carries for 26 yards against playoff teams for Goff. 22 for 71 by Purdy. Purdy's he might scramble around a little bit more, but he's not a very good player when you get him off his mark because he will try to create something. He gets dangerous with the ball. Goff just goes down. When he's in trouble, he just goes to the ground, takes the sack, and moves on to the next play. He is not going to take those kind of risks that the other guy takes. In fact, when you look at Goff against playoff teams, he's thrown 4 interceptions in 8 games. He's not going to do it. He'll take the sacks. He's been sacked 20 times against those playoff teams. He'll take the sack and not throw the interception. That's who and why I like him a little bit more, and the maturity part of it. You can't deny it. People are always down on Goff, but he's been playing pretty darn good lately. Didn't throw a pick in the last 2 games against the Rams and the Bucks. Threw a couple touchdowns, and he survives sacks. Not against Baltimore, of course, but he survived sacks against the Rams, 3 of them. I am going to take the Detroit Lions, and I'll tell you why. I feel like taking them. I want to take them. I've gone to 30 Super Bowls. I've seen big surprises. None more interesting than when the Rams, greatest show on turf, lost to the Patriots in a game. Was it a double-digit point spread? Yes,
14.
It was. This is not a double-digit point spread, and I'm a Dan Campbell guy, and I think Dan is going to bring his team in there. 27-24 Detroit. He's not going to – last week, did you see his face when he wanted to go for it? And he said, punt it. He's controlling things. So I like the first game, 24-21. The point spread I looked at was 45.5. The half point becomes the killer. I hate those half points. And the other one came down to 51. I got a 27-24 Detroit. And this is for you, Trent. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it with you.
Hey, thanks, Pat. Hey, you know I'm with you. You know which way I'm rocking on this one.
We just had to pull Trent off the ceiling. Literally, Pat picked the Lions. He jumped up like a cat and grabbed a hold of the air conditioning vent and held on for a little bit.
Yeah, I muted my microphone first.
And that's not emotional. I got enough things that I like about these guys. And San Francisco, there's times when you start looking at them, you start realizing they've had their bad moments too. And it's not just the Baltimore game. How about the Cleveland game? What happened there?
Pat, help me out. 3rd and 6. How are the Lions getting off the field? Okay, Hutchinson.
I'm on St. Brown.
No. How are the Lions getting the Niners off the field on 3rd and 6? I mean, they don't have a shutdown corner. The secondary's terrible. They're giving up 350 yards a game their last 4 games. All right. I don't know if Hutchinson. I don't know. Can the Lions front 4 get to Purdy on a 3rd and 5? Hutchinson's an effort guy. He's not a Bosa Watt guy. Do they have a matchup on defense that they can win with?
McNeil will win inside. There's one guy that's going to win. And once they started moving Hutch around on the big loops inside and coming up the A gaps, he was more effective. Yeah, he's an effort player. He's a lot like our friend Mr. Max Crosby. High motor, keep going, keep pushing around. Mm-hmm. And if you're getting, the kid to move around off his point that he likes to throw at, you could get a sack or 2. It ain't going to be easy. But I do think Goff and the boys, and by the way, when I started looking at penalties on defense, some guys drive me crazy. Bosa, I love him. He's got 5 offsides, neutral zone infractions, and I don't really think the guy that they got from Washington is worth a lick. I'd be running at him all day.
Well, the Packers did it last week and very effectively. If I'm Detroit, it's like a bad corner. I'm trying to find Chase Young on the field. When I find him, I'm running right at him. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today Show, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, safe travels to and from Baltimore and safe travels to Mobile. We will talk to you from the Senior Bowl next week. Pat Kirwan, picking Baltimore and Detroit.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill has a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and Tiki Bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Pat's picking the Lions.
That's all I needed. I'm good. Have a great rest of the show, guys.
It's funny though. That was kind of a heart pick.
Yep.
I mean, he did say he's looking for the Lions matchup, and he can't really find it. But
that's why it was such a surprise at the end when he just spin zone.
I do get the sense though he's not, wowed by the Niners, and that he just thinks that it's the year of the Lions, and I think CBS would love it.
Need that for your old man.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. I'm going to buy it right now. It's like a bowling shirt.
It is. Legends Man is the name of the company. Legendsman.com.
Looking it up.
$31 for the shirt.
By the way, I don't know if it was a Browns fan or what have you sent in the question. I'm pretty sure, kind of like the Dolphins letting Fangio out of his contract, I think the Browns will let Callahan out of his contract so he can go be the offensive line coach for his son in Tennessee. I do. I don't think the Browns will hold Callahan to the final year of his contract. And that'll be a significant loss. Bill Callahan's one of the great offensive line coaches in the history of the league.
By the way, James in the Twitch chat room today, just all over the Lions. I love it.
That's he's a Saginaw guy.
Love it.
I think there's a couple James in there. I think that's Sonny. I'm not sure.
I mean, from the jump, since 6 o'clock, he's been on the line.
West Coast Dolphin. I think there's a real Wink Martindale chance for D coordinator of the Dolphins.
Is there any chance Vrabel would take a D coordinator position?
I don't think so. He's getting paid by the Titans. I think he'll just stay home.
Wait it out.
You gotta. I mean, I will say this, and we could talk about this coming up. But you think about the jobs that didn't open up this year that could very well open up next year, and they're prominent jobs. Prominent jobs. Dallas, Philadelphia, Miami, Buffalo. Both New York jobs.
I like how you call the Miami job a prominent job. That's cute.
Well, just in terms of having, you're not going to a bad situation. You'd have a chance to walk into a pretty good roster, and that's as opposed to inheriting a 5-12 roster.
Mark's just giving the Dolphins a little snark.
Yeah, no. I agree.
It's very deserved snark.
Right.
No doubt.
I mean, they have had 4 straight winning seasons, but
right.
So it's not a bad situation. Ben Johnson, the Lions OC, the word is he's got the Washington job locked up, and Dan Quinn's got the Seattle job.
Here we go.
Style of play, Martindale. That's why I think he's got a shot.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the Diamond District bonus hour, a final segment along the network. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Go to our website, see our picks, and vote in our poll question. What's your pick for Super Bowl 58? Who's going to be playing in the game in Vegas in 16 days? Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com, and vote. I am rooting Lions, Ravens. I am picking Niners, Ravens.
I'm rooting Lions and don't care in the Ravens game.
No love for Taylor Swift.
It doesn't matter either way to me. I should probably pick the Chiefs because of my wife's hatred of the Ravens. She will clearly be rooting for the Chiefs on Sunday.
Oh, that's right. The Steelers fan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is a tough one. Yeah. Is there a team that she hates more than the Ravens?
Not in sport. I mean, there's not a hockey team. There's not a Penguin rival. There's nothing. There's not a college team. There is nobody that sits on top of the hatred mountain quite like the Ravens.
I went to my aunt and uncle's last weekend in Cape Coral to watch the action. They're Steelers fans. I mean, my aunt's a Lions fan because she's from where you're from, Mark, but they hate the Ravens. And they asked me as soon as I get there, who are you rooting for? And I'm like, well, CJ Stroud's a good story. I like Lamar. And instantly I thought I was going to get thrown out of the
out of the house. Oh, yeah.
It's always anti-Ravens over there.
One of the great rivalries in all of sports is the Steelers and the Ravens.
Words that we never thought we would say out loud. But I think CBS is rooting for the Lions.
I do too.
I agree.
I mean, I think they're rooting for Kansas City also. I mean, I think they would love a Detroit KC Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
They get Mahomes and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on the one side, and they get a story that America will just, run to on the other side.
So let me ask you this, because I think this is interesting. Are we living in a world where Ravens-Niners would be the lowest rated of the 4? Now, it's the Super Bowl. We're talking monster numbers here regardless, but of the 4 options,
yes,
I think Ravens-Niners would be the lowest rated. And that's a rematch of 10 years ago.
I think you're right. Because the Lions will bring in more of the story will bring in more of the casual person to watch than the Niners will.
I mean, think about it. There are very few franchises in the NFL that have not been to the Super Bowl. I mean, this is, after all, the 58th Super Bowl. I mean, you've got Cleveland, you've got Houston, you've got Jacksonville, and you have the Lions. I mean, everybody else has been, right?
Yeah.
Yep, and all those franchises you mentioned, besides the Lions and Browns, have been around for only, 20, 30 years.
Right. Oh, yeah.
The Lions have been around 90. And I've
Well,
heard about it all
Cleveland-
season with that 90 patch on their jerseys.
Well, Cleveland's been around a while.
They had a hiatus though.
They did.
They did, but they've been around a while. You know, they had 30 opportunities to get to a Super Bowl before the hiatus. I mean, you know,
Well, I mentioned them, the Browns and Lions. Other than that, you know, Houston, Jacksonville, those are teams that have only been around for, you know, as long as I've been alive.
So yeah, I mean, it'd be an amazing story, just an amazing story, and then you throw in the location. I mean, my goodness.
Viva Las Vegas!
Will you buy tickets to Vegas?
Totally. I won't. I might not be able to go to the game, but on Tuesday, Pat just kind of casually throwing out there.
He did throw it at you.
He says, if Detroit wins, Trent, you let me know if you want to go. I said, all right, Pat. Go Lions.
Wow.
That's when you guys could really pull rank and say, Trent, we're not giving you Monday off. You got to make it.
Not a chance.
Come on.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not.
At our core, we are big fans.
I know. I'm joking.
More than anything, we are fans of sport. And this little ride that they're on, we couldn't deny you of that.
Oh my goodness, no. Oh man, I mean, you know, you're 24 years old, and yet there's no guarantee if they were to win. There's no guarantee when they're going again, considering it took them 58 years to get here the first time. I mean, the Mets won a World Series when I was 20. You know, I'm 58, haven't won another one. Giants won a cup when I was 28. Half a lifetime later, still have, or the Rangers. I mean,
it's all right. You were on a roll.
Right. You know, Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. Knicks won a title when I was 7. You know, I mean, no, Trent, you're talking to the right guys here.
And that's where I'm getting to with, and I don't have the Lions fandom. I don't. I'm rooting for them.
I think you kind of do to an extent.
I want them to win.
You grew up watching them. You used to drive to the hotel to watch the Lions play.
I did, but it's my dad, and that's when Gary brought that up. But it broke me down a little bit. But I've seen the Wings win titles. I've seen the Pistons win titles. I've seen the Tigers win a title. And I'm getting to the point where it's time for them to start winning again because it's been a while.
I will say, you know me, Mark, I do believe in the whole sports city region thing. And the fact that the Wolverines won the national title, you know, I buy into that. I fall victim to that constantly. I'm a believer in that.
In the sports gods.
Yes.
And are they hovering over the Mitten State right now, getting ready for the Lions to go to a Super Bowl?
Exactly. At which point you immediately start putting money on the Tigers to win the Central. I mean, it's just apparently this is happening.
Already done. I hate to break it to you.
Probably should have waited till Monday, but I like where your head's at, or at least where your heart's at.
I do think the Lions match up pretty darn well. I'd love to know how healthy Debo's going to be. Help me with this. How the hell are they going to cover McCaffrey out of the backfield? Their linebacking core is not good.
It's all right.
Really,
it's not.
No. Trent, don't make excuses. Just listen. Seriously, who on the Lions can cover Christian McCaffrey? I mean, they can line him up out of the backfield. They can line him in the slot. That's to me. How are they going to get off the field? 3rd and 5. How are they getting off the field? They can't cover anybody.
The inside pressure that Pat talked about is going to have to be key. Somehow they're going to have to press on the inside, David.
I think Purdy's just going to have to miss some throws. I really do.
And that will come if they can pressure up the middle, though.
It's all about the pass rush. It's all about making Purdy uncomfortable. How many times has he had to come from behind? I mean, I know he did it last week.
Yeah,
but
very
impressive, but
I mean, the Lions hadn't done anything till 14 days ago. So, don't try to tear down the Niners.
I'm not.
Fourth time in 5 years they're in this game.
Oh, and they're the Niners are 7-point favorites for a reason. I'm not delusional about that part of it. I think the Lions' best chance to win is to get out early so that Purdy has to throw. And like Pat said, Kyle Shanahan might abandon that run. And then if the Lions can continue to make Purdy uncomfortable, they might be able to hang in there and win this one.
Yeah, they need Deebo Samuel not to play.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sorry. That's
I don't know how they match up on Kittle. I don't know how. I mean, getting Gardner Johnson back that'll help.
David, I think he might follow Kittle like a corner on a receiver.
He better. Seriously, if I'm Detroit, I gotta take one. You hope Deebo can't play effectively, and then let's try to take Kittle off the field, and then let's try to have
and
him
hope
run
Sutton plays
McCaffrey
better on
ground.
and hope Sutton plays better on Ayuk than he did on Evans.
And here's the thing: even if Deebo doesn't play, I mean, I'll tell you this. I'll be the first one to tell you this. Someone's going off for the Niners. Obviously, they have a very potent offense, and Detroit hasn't been able to shut down receivers all year. So someone's going off. You just have to hope, if you're a Lions fan, that the defense bends until it can't possibly bend anymore, but doesn't break.
The other thing that I don't like for Detroit, and I so want them to win, but the left side of the Niners offensively is stronger than the right side. Trent Williams, and then also Deebo lines up to the left a lot. All right, I think Purdy's better throwing to his left than to his right. Okay, and that side of the Lions defense, to me, that's not the side Hutchinson's usually on. That corner last week got destroyed by the Bucs. Destroyed. I just would love to know, how are they going to force 4 punts? How do they get a punt a quarter out of the Niners?
Well,
because if they can, they're going to win.
Here's the other thing.
I just don't know how they do it.
I mean, the Lions have won shootouts. That Chargers game. I mean, the Chargers had the ball their last 5 possessions.
This is the playoffs. You very rarely, the Super Bowl we got last year is the aberration. You very rarely get 38-35 in a playoff game. Defenses make adjustments. They find ways to get stops. Do you really think you're going to go into Frisco and score 35 points against the Niners? I can see you getting a 27, but do you really think you're going to get in a shootout in this game?
And that's why I picked the score that I did. That's why I think San Francisco can get to the 30s. I don't know how Detroit does. It goes back to really simple things. Can you get Purdy to turn the ball over?
That would be nice.
He threw the passes that Green Bay could have picked off last week.
Yes.
They didn't. Detroit cannot, if given the opportunity to take the ball away, fumble it away. They've got to figure out a way, and I know it's just the obvious, but they have got to figure out a way to turn the ball over on San Francisco, because if the turnovers are even, I don't know how they win. I don't.
Trent, you are right, though. For the Lions to win, their defensive line has to be the best unit on the team. On the team. Their defensive line has to win this game. That's how they'll get stops, because they ain't covering anybody.
And just some names to watch. I mean, obviously, everyone knows about Aiden Hutchinson, but Big 95, Romeo Okwara, he's been here since the Patricia Quinn era. He kind of handles the other side, and he is very, very boom or bust. But I'll tell you, I could see him having a bit of a day if, like David said, they dial up that blitz and get after him. We could talk about all day about how much Deebo plays, but we all agree he's going to play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing.
I am rooting for Detroit. I am rooting for Detroit. I just am struggling to see the stop. They got it against the Rams. They did. They gave up 70 yards on that drive. But when they were a first down away from the Rams getting in field goal range, they made the stop. They got into the 30s against Tampa Bay, which allowed the defense one extra opportunity. And playing with the lead, they did get the stop late.
If the Lions can win the Super Bowl, I'm going to get a bend but don't break tattoo. I'm going to get that tatted on my back, because that's what this secondary is, David.
I'll hold you up to it.
I don't know if a pass defense this bad has even got. When's the last time a secondary this bad has gotten to a Super Bowl?
Couldn't tell you. It's not good. It is not good.
I mean, they can win. They can. I mean, they really can. But man, oh man, guts and guile and heart and all that. The Bucks and the Rams at home are not the Niners on the road. They're not.
Well, and you're not tricking anybody anymore. There's no fake punts that are going to work. This is line it up and beat them. That doesn't mean they're not going to still go for it on a 4th down or 2, because that's who Campbell and the Lions are.
And
but the days of tricking somebody here, they're not working anymore. I don't see gadget plays and things. This is line it up, beat the team in front of you.
So if I set the over-under for both you guys in the final minute of this hour, if I set the over-under at 1.5 for fake punts plus 2-point tries, what would you take for the Lions?
Fake punts plus 2-point tries over under 1.5. I'd still go under.
You think Campbell will be conservative because it's the playoffs?
No, I go over. I even think there's a fake field goal possibility. No, I think Dan Campbell goes nuts in this game. I do. I think early flea. I do. I think early in the game, I think a flea flicker in the first half, a fake kick. Absolutely. I think Campbell is going to send the message that we are just letting it rip today, for better or worse.
As Spitz points out, the Lions' last road playoff win, 1957.
Where was it, Mark?
San Francisco.
Ooh!
Hello.
Can the Lions do it? Miller and Moulton say no. Pat Kirwan says yes. Trent, of course, says yes. But everybody's got Baltimore on the other side.
I'm taking the Ravens to cover. Mark's taking the 4 with the Chiefs, but the Ravens to win. I'm taking the Lions to cover. Mark's laying the points with the Niners. Those along the network, have a great Friday. Enjoy your football weekend. The Diamond District bonus hours next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, of course, I'm taking big swings with this game. David, to answer your question about stopping the run, I think Jack Campbell, the rookie out of Iowa, could have a game. It's kind of been that year for the Lions. You know, the rookies have all made big impacts. He's kind of the last one to – he's coming on strong at the end here, but they picked him in the first round with the Rams pick.
Hello, my name is Jim Caviezel, the actor who played Jesus in the movie The Passion of the Christ.
Wing, risky pass to Elisa Brett. It pays off, and Kyra Evans can't control the ball. It'll be a jump ball as Lauren Hansen gets into a little bit of a tussle. I believe it was her.
Oh, let's settle down. Telling me that there was punches thrown. That's what you're telling. Come on. Come on.
Clickbait?
Yeah, that's terrible. I'd like to at least someone connect if we're going to tell me punches are thrown.
Well, you want a little Rick Mahorn?
Well, it was a women's game, so I was a little more interested in it.
Oh, God.
It was Michigan and Maryland.
Punches thrown with the women. Were you watching the Malice at the Palace live?
No.
No. No, I can't talk about that team. Sorry. My bad.
Timeout. That's another week just added onto this.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's a Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. At least that's the 6 to 9 portion of the show. This is just for, us in Southwest Florida. Like old times. Bada bing, bada boom.
Seems like old times.
Seems like old times. That's what 9 to 10 is. It's like
underrated
old
rom-com from back in the early 80s.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, the rumor has it that the 9 o'clock hour is going to be heard by more than just Southwest Florida coming up here in the coming weeks.
So they will no longer have ownership to this hour?
Okay. It will be for more than just our, longtime loyal audience. That's all.
Wow.
There may be some newcomers crashing the party, kind of like the Lions are trying to do. Crash the party. Second NFC championship game in history. Never been to the Super Bowl. It's kind of like Miller and Moulton doing a 9 o'clock hour for an audience outside the 239. Jacksonville could be our Detroit Lions. I'm just saying, it's possible. Negotiations are ongoing.
This analogy works for me. I like it.
Trent's like, anything you could work into the Lions. A nuclear attack, if the Lions could be involved, that'd be phenomenal. It really would.
I just somehow got you guys to talk about the Lions for that entire last segment. I love it.
Well, they did make the NFC Championship.
Right.
There's reason to talk about them, and not because they're picking first in the draft.
Yeah, I don't even care who they draft. Heck, trade the pick.
So funny. I said it to Trent. I was, because there's a website called Tankathon that I use just because it lists the draft order. And I happened to just click on it during the week. And I said, Trent, do you realize that even if things go according to Hoyle and both favorites win, the Lions will pick 30th in the draft?
It's enough to bring a tear to a fan's eye. It really is.
And where's the draft? Detroit.
Oh, that's right.
Campus Martius, baby, right on the water. It's going to be jumping.
When they're picking 32nd.
Oh, no.
They might hang the Super Bowl banner that day. Come on down to Ford Field before the draft. We're going to hang the banner.
Take it easy now. Take it easy.
But you are the one. You've said this. It's one thing when you win a game. But when you win a second, then you can taste it.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels real.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's impossible not to dream now. Come on. It's 60 minutes. Even the 91 team. I mean, they destroyed the Cowboys in the divisional round 38-6. I mean, how are you not dreaming 32 years ago that, we're going to do this, even though their history in Washington was awful.
Just like their history in San Francisco. I think it's 15 in a row they've lost in San Francisco. 15 times. That's tough to do.
That seems like a lot. It really does. Yeah. I mean, it'd be a lot if it was a divisional opponent and you played every year. That'd be a lot. So I do love the stories. We've gotten to know the, 89-year-old Lion season ticket holder that NBC is focused on in the crowd the last 2 weeks. There was a story that I saw where a gentleman is dying and he's in hospice care. But when he saw, he remembered Amon St. Brown said, we make the playoffs, so dye in the hair blue. All right. And so there it was for the first playoff game against the Rams, side by side. He's home in his bed in his living room with his, blue hair. All right. On his deathbed, him and Amon St. Brown, doing this together.
And you bring up the blue hair, which means Southwest Florida's got to be pulling for the Lions.
Totally.
Guys, I am not kidding you. I 100% looked into getting my hair dyed blue yesterday because I got my hair cut. I looked into it. It's too expensive. It's way too expensive. It's like $250 because I got dark hair. So
wait a minute. It's $250. I can go to aisle 8 at Publix, get some food coloring. We could do it during a break. What are you talking about?
It's because
$250.
I got dark hair. You got to bleach it.
Hold
first,
on.
And,
Hey, somebody listening to the show who does hair. Okay, we'll make a deal right
he's
now.
He's right on the price. Coloring hair is really expensive.
Well, it is for women. Come on, this is a Lions.
No,
blue.
it is for men that color their hair too. Coloring your hair is really expensive. Almost as big of an overcharge as what photographers think they're worth.
If the Lions win Sunday, I'm doing it. You guys have my word. I'll show up on Monday with
blue hair.
Blue hair. Well, maybe
serious?
Tuesday,
No.
because I'd probably do it on Monday, and then Tuesday I'd have the blue hair.
You're going to spend that much money just to dye your hair blue?
No, I'll do the cheap version, like you said. Except here's the problem: if I don't do it right, it's going to end up being that dark blue, that Michigan.
Right.
Yuck.
It's important to have the proper blue.
How about this? And I'm not in favor of this. I'm not a tattoo guy. I don't have one on my body. Okay. My wife doesn't have one on hers. I'm not a tattoo guy. But, you're young and crazy, Trent. Why don't you just get like a Super Bowl 58 tattoo?
Here's the thing. Okay, if the Lions make it and lose, I mean, I'll still have all the garb. I don't know if I can get a tattoo unless they win. I'll get a tattoo if they win.
You will literally get a Lions tattoo if they win.
Yes. On the chest, too. I've already planned it out.
On the chest?
I want grit tattooed on my chest.
Oh, I love when that young lady from Appleton, Wisconsin is resting her head on your Lions tattoo on your chest. That'll be awesome.
Or when I'm 80 years old and it's all gross and stretched out. I'm like, back when I was 24, the Lions won the Super Bowl.
I got nothing against tattoos. I have one. Got it on my 40th birthday.
Where is it?
My leg.
What is it?
It's a frog. I like frogs.
Wow.
That's
I used to wear the soul patch. It's a frog with a soul patch. I was in Key West.
So when the Horned Frogs beat Michigan 2 years ago, you were fired up.
Yeah, I was.
Double whammy for you.
So they have to win to get the tattoo? Now, I mean, think
have
about this.
to, yes.
Hold on. You mean the Lions getting to the Super Bowl is not enough? Because I have to admit, the Lions making the Super Bowl to most of the rest of the country is like an early sign that the apocalypse is upon us. I mean, that's how big of an event it seems to the rest of us. Not a big enough event for you.
Well, here's the thing, David. There's levels to this. I mean, of course, making it is a huge deal. Like I said, I'll have the T-shirt, the hat. I already do for the NFC North Division title, for crying out loud. But here's what you also got to remember. This is just the beginning for this group.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
You're done.
Stop it.
You're
That's
done.
it.
That's
You're
it.
done.
Yeah,
Turn the mic off.
It.
This is the beginning. Really. Really. You can guarantee that. A franchise that hadn't won a playoff game in 32 years.
Is
Okay,
the
had
future
won
not bright?
hold on. Had won one playoff game in 65 years. And you're going, this is the beginning of a run. Really? It's such a well-run organization. It has such history to it. Level of success. By the way, the whole rest of the division is going to be better next year.
You're going to lose
Every
the
team in the
offensive
division will be
coordinator.
better. Right.
You
And
might
you're
lose the
losing your
defensive
offensive coordinator.
I mean,
Okay, allow me to
and
just
you're a
say-
year away from losing your
No.
defensive coordinator.
right. You're going to lose both coordinators. Now, I trust Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can make substantial hires and be able to replace these guys and keep things at the same level. But there are no guarantees. Look what happened in Philadelphia.
Right.
Trent, remember the stat I threw out there yesterday, which kind of stunned everybody? Name the teams in the league who have made the playoffs the last 4 years.
There's only three of them.
And one in the NFC. And it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you're talking about a run. A run?
More so what
Take
I was
it
saying was, if
easy.
by the grace of God, the Lions
Hey.
going to win the Super Bowl in 4 years, I will be damned if I have this Super Bowl on my arm. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. If they were to do it in 3 or 4 years or next year, whenever, and they didn't do it this year, but I have this Super
I'll
Bowl
tell you
tattoo
what.
on my body, that's when I would be.
Larry.
You can't put a losing Super Bowl tattoo on your body.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I don't know, man. Really? With this franchise?
I'll have the T-shirts.
Larry in our Twitch chat room. This guy's worse than Felipe with the heat. Well, you have to admit. I mean, come on. The Heat have been winners for 20 years. I mean, you can understand where this guy, okay, a.k.a. Trent, all right, you can see where he's a little.
Yeah, the Heat had the greatest player ever for a while, LeBron James.
Okay, that's another thing. Now you're really
You're really trying to mute yourself for next week.
Charles
You got
Barkley
people-
would smack me across the face right now.
Yes, and that's
And
if
we'd
you
let
beat
him.
us to it, right? We'll hold you down and put that tattoo on you, even if now you lose in the NFC Championship game. You keep saying stuff like that. Golly.
Got to reel this show back in all of a sudden.
Got it. That's it. You've had your run.
Diamond
Good luck.
District bonus hour just went off the rails.
Yep. Good luck Sunday, and that's enough out of you. Miller and Moulton. Whew.
You want to talk Chiefs Ravens?
Well, we did a lot of that. It's why we've gotten on this Lions Niners little diatribe, because we did a lot on the Chiefs and the Ravens. A lot. And yes, I am betting against Patrick Mahomes, probably at my own peril.
9-1-1 as an underdog against the spread is Patrick Mahomes. His only loss was a home game. So on the road, Mahomes is 9-0-1 as an underdog against the spread. He is 8-3 straight up. Win an underdog in a game.
But I'm sorry, I think this is the weakest Chiefs team of this glorious 6-year run, which should not be taken for granted, by the way. 6 consecutive AFC Championship game appearances. My goodness. How spectacular is that? And following the Patriots making it 8 consecutive years. I mean, the Patriots' 8 AFC Championship game appearances in a row were the 2011 through 2018 seasons. The Chiefs started this run in the 2018 season. So we have not had an AFC Championship game without the Patriots or the Chiefs in 13 years. That's like that, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic stat you had at the Aussie Open.
Where it's been 20.
Right. Djokovic, by the way, beaten in the semis. So first Australian Open final since 2005 without Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic. Medvedev, by the way, came back from 2 sets to love down and won in 5. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, all coming up.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Larry, thank you. I hope so too. Yeah, Spitz, that's a good point. Interesting. Every dozen years, the Ravens win the Super Bowl. So, Ravens Niners would get the lowest viewership. At least we think
Ravens,
so.
Lion, Chiefs will get the most viewership.
Right.
Chiefs,
because of Taylor Swift.
right.
And it's the Chiefs. I mean, let's not count that out.
No, and it's the Chiefs. It's Mahomes.
Taylor Swift or not, the Chiefs would be number
Chiefs,
one.
Lions would be 1. Chiefs, Niners would be 2. Ravens, Lions would be 3. Ravens, Niners would be 4. I think.
I think that's spot on. Jens are in the Twitch chat room doing everything and anything to dispel this Ravens narrative. Love it. Did you see there were Jared Goff chants at the Red Wings game?
Why was he at it?
No, they're just chanting
They
his
were
name.
chanting Jared Goff at the Red Wings game last night.
A bunch of happy hockey fans when the Wings were up 3-0 decided to start a Jared Goff chant.
That is just so awesome. I mean, how can you not love seeing that much joy in that many people? I mean, isn't that? I mean, this is the drug that sports can be. That is just. This is why we get into it. That's why I want everybody to have one parade.
Were you at any of the Giants parades?
No. Well, you know what the problem was? The Giants parades that I believe they're early Super Bowls when I would have been inclined to go to a parade. They actually had them in and around the stadium in Jersey.
Okay.
I don't think the Giants. I could be wrong, but I know at least one of the Strahan Super Bowls was a New York parade. I really thought about going to the Rangers parade.
Yeah, that would have been something.
But
All right, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts. Recap our picks. Make a couple others. All coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Did the Falcons make a mistake going Raheem Morris and not going Belichick?
Yes.
Okay. It's a fair question. There are a lot of people. We've done a couple of Belichick poll questions. There's the majority of people who have responded, who have texted us, who have commented in the Twitch chat room. They're over Belichick. They think he's a has-been. They think his success, that he's an overrated coach, and it's only because of Tom Brady. We have been, I don't want to say chastised, but we have been questioned, doubted over the last couple of weeks when you and I are like, well, you hire Bill Belichick. We've had the majority of our audience go, you guys are wrong.
Don't you think that's a lot of Patriot hate, though, too? I think this is the time people are piling on because they've made a turn. The Bill Belichick, the GM, did the coach no favors. That roster is a mess.
Yeah. No, he failed. Bill Belichick, the GM, failed Bill Belichick, the coach. Absolutely. Listen, if they went away from Belichick because of, he wanted to come in and, bring his own general manager and this, that, and the other thing, I could understand where any owner would go, Bill, I mean, your last 5 years, man, I can't let you pick the groceries. But that's not, by all accounts, what he did. Now, it's what Rich McKay was worried about. And by the way, at the announcement yesterday, didn't Arthur Blank say that Rich McKay is no longer involved in football?
Correct. He said that Raheem Morris will answer to him.
Right. And the general manager. Who's kind of was pushed aside by Rich McKay, will now have more power. So let me get this straight. You chose Raheem Morris over Belichick, but you pushed Rich McKay aside anyway? I mean, Mark, for 2 years, I've wanted Raheem Morris to get another job. I thought that he had paid his dues. He's a totally different guy than he was when he was thrown into the deep end when he wasn't ready with Tampa. But I don't know how you can choose Raheem Morris as a coach for the next. I mean, you're an 80-something-year-old owner. Don't talk to me about the long-term health of the organization. I mean, come on. Plus, how long do you keep this group of Falcons together? I mean, I'm sorry. Don't you have to look at everything as like a 3-year run?
Let me just, I oversimplify things probably more than you, David, probably more than most people. But let me just ask you a question. Who's the Falcons quarterback next year?
Kirk Cousins.
Are you sure? Because with Bill Belichick, I was pretty damn sure.
I was too. And that's an illegal phone call that you make. At least I would have made. No, I'm calling up. I won't call up Cousins directly because that could cost me a first-round pick and get me fined and suspended and all that. But I'd call his agent and I'd say, I need to know now. If we hire Belichick, is he coming, yes or no? And I will hold you to this, by the way, for the rest of your life. And you're going to represent a lot more people than Kirk Cousins. You talk to your client. If we sign Belichick, is he coming? And if the agent goes, well, if you meet our price, and that's when you go, yeah, we'll meet it. Are you coming, yes or no?
So if they get Cousins with Raheem Morris, then good for Atlanta. And we'll see how this works out. And maybe it works out really positively for them. If they don't, it just furthers the mistake that the Atlanta Falcons made.
I understood. I didn't agree with. I understood if they were going to hire someone not named Bill Belichick because of the whole power fight inside an organization. And Rich McKay was going to win again. but you just push Rich McKay to the side and didn't hire Belichick. Wow. And you're not a 60-something-year-old owner. You're an 80-something-year-old owner. In which, let's be brutally honest, what do you want before you die? The same thing that the guy you're hiring is thinking, because his shelf life is about as long as yours as a coach. I'm stunned. Stunned. And I wanted Raheem Morris to get a job, but I'm stunned. And then, I mean, you fired him 3 years ago. He was your interim coach. You had him in the building for years. And now you hire him? That's 14 candidates. I would have bought many of the other candidates if you're hiring over Bill Belichick, but you actually hired the guy you fired 3 years ago.
And now think of the pressure. There's always pressure on a head coach, but now you got to be the head coach that was brought in from, and they may not care what the media thinks, but I think they do. We all think they do. And you're already starting out, and everybody thinks you hired the wrong guy.
Well, and like you said, and now Raheem's got to live up to, God forbid he makes a controversial coaching decision late in a game. Would Bill Belichick have done that? If they don't achieve what people think they should achieve, what do you think they would have done under Belichick? It is interesting, though. I mean, it certainly appears there's 2 job openings left, and Belichick and apparently Vrabel and Pete Carroll are not going to get any of them. But now, let's look ahead. I mean, think about the coaches that are entering 2024 in which rent don't buy territory. Mike McCarthy in Dallas, Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia. How about Mike McDaniel in Miami?
How about Sean McDermott in Buffalo?
How about at least one, if not both, of the coaches in New York? By the way, you want to talk about irony. How rich would it be if Belichick ended up coaching the Jets one day?
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Well, Mark.
The Giants I could see happening.
Oh, I
see the
definitely
Jets
see
happen.
the Giants happening. He hates the Jets. Did you see the clip? Him and Parcells are walking through Giants Stadium like days before they're going to demolish it. And they're both mic'd up and they're both walking around, and they had gone through the Giants part of the stadium, and they're coming over. And obviously they both have history with the Jets. Parcells was the coach there 3 years. Belichick was his defensive coordinator. They went to an AFC championship game together. Belichick was named coach for a day. Okay. They have history with the Jets. They're literally going to walk in the door and go down the Jets side. And they stopped and they both went, nah. And Belichick's like, yeah, I hate the Jets. But when you're 14 wins away from passing Shula and the phone's not ringing,
I don't see it happening.
But think about it. I mean, have Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick coached their last games?
I think Pete has for sure. The fact that he didn't even get an interview anywhere, David.
Surprised the Chargers didn't interview him.
Because there's a regional factor with Pete at this point, and the fact that
Maybe.
the Chargers job was open, the Raiders job was open, just jobs on that part of.
Yeah, but he coached New England. I mean,
well, I know, but I'm just going off.
Pat seems to think there is.
Yeah,
but when there's only one job available,
right? Give it a year of being unemployed, and let's see how married to the West Coast Pete is.
That's a good point.
Same with Belichick. Let's see how married Bill is to certain things when he's not employed in the NFL for the first time in 50 years. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. All coming up next. Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall. Pop into a few Joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Michael Anthony for Van Halen.
Yep.
He has a great hot sauce line, apparently. I haven't
Really?
tried it, but I want to. People rave about it.
Did you see the video of Messi? So
No.
somebody spots him in traffic. He's driving his own car, by the way. And this fan actually has a Messi jersey in the car with him. He pulls up alongside Messi, holds up the jersey. Messi rolls down the passenger window. The fan throws Messi a Messi jersey and throws a Sharpie into Messi's car. Messi signs it, hands them both back to the guy, shakes the guy's hand, puts the window back up, drives away.
That's awesome.
Class act.
That is so cool.
In Miami?
I believe so. Yes.
If you're that famous, though, how fun would that be? Just to kind of,
It would suck.
respect to this guy, though.
It's a
It would suck.
borderline scary to just.
Well, yeah, but like you expect to sign autographs at a sporting event or anytime you're in public.
I don't expect to have to sign an autograph when I'm driving my car to the store.
But it would be, who can pull that off? The list is short.
It's true.
He looks so relaxed. Messi does in Miami. He looks so happy. I mean, the soccer's easy for him, for God's sakes. He's playing at a league that's 5 levels below where he was at.
Grizzle, that is the most inaccurate statement ever made.
What, Kroger over Publix?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
You
Mark,
apparently have never had a public sub, first off. Kroger doesn't even have, Kroger sucks.
Mark, do you remember Frandor Shopping Center in Lansing? It's right off campus.
Yeah.
That's where I would go because I lived like right there, and there's a Kroger there, and that's where I would shop for my groceries. And it was always scary going there.
Kroger sucks.
You're starting to sound like that famous Neil Rogers drop-in, by the way. That was it sucks.
You know, Yinzer, you're right. Kroger's like a Winn-Dixie. Every once in a while, like Marco Island has a Winn-Dixie. It's amazing. The rest of them are all, whoa.
We used to buy booze at Kroger because it was at state minimum price, but we couldn't do it until we turned 21 because they scan your ID. Oh, Kroger. Man. I didn't think we'd be having a Kroger discussion on this
Well,
morning.
Kroger's big in Georgia, and that's where Coach
Okay.
Grizzle's he's in Huntsville,
Gotcha.
right? Is Coach Grizzle in Huntsville, David?
Yeah, it's Chad. It's Abraham's producer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he listens to like 2 hours of our show every day. I told him, listen, you listen to enough bad radio. What are you doing?
Sorry. You know what you need to do is you need to turn into the Fox Sports Radio app. It's not really Fox Sports Radio. If you go to the Fox Sports Radio app, it's the local Southwest Florida Fox station. Tune that in at 3:00 today if you want to hear some really good sports radio.
I wouldn't recommend that to people that I hate.
Bad karma, Mark. You're setting yourself up here. By the way, Finn's Brett, thanks for the tip. I will check it out. Love hot sauce.
That's a good one. Wait, Rosie's is dope?
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The home stretch of not just the show, but the week. Football Friday edition of Miller and Moulton. Final one of January. This is it. 3 games left. 2 of them this weekend. 3 to 10 o'clock. Nobody can bother you. Don't care who they are. Don't care how scantily clad they are either, unless it's halftime. You got 13 minutes. Go.
Should leave you 12 to get a snack.
Exactly. Boom. For the record, Miller and Moulton both picking the Ravens and the Niners, but in very different ways. I have the Ravens covering. Mark's taking the points with the Chiefs. Mark has the Niners covering. I love the points with the Lions. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton vote on our poll question. Super Bowl 58. What do you think the matchup will be?
This is as strongly as you felt about 2 games in a while. I get the sense that you really feel convicted that you're. Yeah, I mean, I've listened to you pick games, and you're like, I'm picking this, but I'm not sure. You seem very sure of yourself this week. Why?
I'm really sure on Baltimore. If Baltimore doesn't win and cover, I will be very surprised.
I mean, for the record, the people seem to agree with David because the poll question right now, 69% have Ravens, Niners, or Ravens, Lions, one of the two.
Well, the irony is Mark and I are both picking the same 2 teams to win. We're just seeing 2 very different games. I think Baltimore is a level above Kansas City. I think Kansas City has picked on 2 wounded animals the last 2 weeks, in the Dolphins and the Bills. And I don't think they'll be able to score 26 and 27 points they've scored the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I don't know that the Chiefs get to 20. And I don't think they can hold the Ravens to less. So I just really like Baltimore. I think it's Lamar's game to lose. Either Mahomes has to steal it from him and just be Superman, which he's capable of doing. But I really think it's Lamar's game to lose. Biggest game of his life. It's his game to lose. He's got the better team. He's got more weapons. He's got the better defense. It's Lamar's game to lose. Lamar's really good. He's going to win his 2nd MVP in 5 years. When Lamar's healthy, the Ravens win a lot. And I just think
And he's the most dynamic player in the game when he's healthy. Even Mahomes, Superman, he's great. I know most everybody would take Mahomes as their quarterback. But Lamar does things that nobody else in the league can do. Nobody else has ever played the position can do.
the Todd Monken scheme is better than the Greg Knapp scheme. It's more versatile. Also, in fairness to Greg Knapp, all right, come on. Greg Knapp didn't have the wide receivers that Monken and Lamar have this year. They didn't. Now they have two tight ends. It's not just Andrews, it's Lively. Also, since the Ray Lewis, Ed Reed defense, have the Ravens had a better defense than the one this year? I mean, they lead the league in sacks.
And they do it with a lot of players. I mean, they've gotten, 16 different players have sacks. I mean, that's remarkable.
They're number one in giving up the least amount of big plays, 20-plus yard plays. So you can't hit them for big plays and score quickly. And you have to, grind out 10-plus play drives against a team that eventually will probably do what? Probably sack you. I mean, they're good for a sack a quarter, basically. That's tough to overcome. That's a sack is usually a drive killer. A sack equals punt most of the time. I just think, Kansas City, a credit to them and what they've done to get this far. But come on, this is the worst Chiefs team in the last 6. I mean, come on.
That's why they're on the road.
Right.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1837 we start. It could just be more karma for Sunday, because it was today that Michigan was admitted to the Union as the 26th state.
Welcome.
1887, construction begins on the Eiffel Tower. 1913, Jim Thorpe relinquishes his 1912 medals for playing 2 seasons of semi-pro baseball. Today in 1924, American Charles Dutroux was the first ever to win a gold medal. He would do so in the 500-meter speed skating. Pete Rozelle was elected commissioner today in 1960. It was on the 23rd ballot, David. They weren't very sure about Pete. It took a while.
He was a PR guy with the Rams. I mean, I don't want to say that they, were digging pretty far down the list or anything.
Simon and Garfunkel's final studio album, Bridge Over Troubled Water, was released today in 1970.
Pretty good, though. Pretty good.
The Dukes of Hazzard premiered today in 1979.
I didn't watch.
I did.
I don't know why.
I don't either. The Daisy Dukes were enough to turn that show on in and of itself.
Is that the Eastbound and Down show?
No.
What's Eastbound and Down?
That's its own show.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the song Eastbound and Down is from the movie Smoking the Bandit. If
Okay.
You're thinking of that.
I'm way off. Sorry.
You're 1979. You weren't even thought of. Don't worry. It's okay. Super Bowl 20 today was in 86. The Bears destroyed the Patriots. Richard Dent, your MVP in New Orleans.
By the way, when are they going to win another Super Bowl? Think about that. Hell, they've only been to one since. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, we're coming up on 40 years here. I mean, Bears going to, if we asked a poll question, Bears going to win a Super Bowl in the next 12 years? Because
No.
if not, then that means they'll go 50 years without winning another Super Bowl.
92, Super Bowl 26. Washington 37-24 over Buffalo. At the
I was
Metro.
at that.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, you were at that game, right?
I was. Yeah. Got a seat cushion for my grandfather. He loved it. All the swag that you got for your Super Bowl seat was sitting on your seat. Gave it all to my grandfather. He loved it.
Mark Rippon, the MVP. 97, Super Bowl 31 in New Orleans. Green Bay takes down the Patriots 35-21. Desmond Howard, the MVP. Today in 98, former President Clinton uttered that famous phrase, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
So get ready for next week when it's the backtrack, right? I mean, how long in between was it when he said I did, when he admitted to it? How long did that take?
Well, I actually don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
No, he did. He did.
No. Hold on. No, because he used the words that he used for a reason. Sexual relations. All right. Because it was then in the impeachment thing and what have you, it was defined and he argued that what they did not qualify.
Okay. I just remember in history.
I think to most of the rest of the world it did.
Okay.
He's saying mouth hugs don't qualify. Super Bowl 37 today. Tampa Bay bombs Oakland 48-21.
Last one ever played in San Diego.
That same day, Jimmy Kimmel Live debuted on ABC. And 4 years ago today, Kobe died. Douglas MacArthur, Paul Newman, Eddie Van Halen, and boxer Salvador Sanchez all born today.
Man, Newman was a great actor.
Yes, he was. Bob Uecker's 89.
And still working.
I know. Anita Baker and Ellen DeGeneres are both 66. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, is 63, and Vince Carter is 47. What did I miss, David?
Not much, man. Not much. I mean, by the way, of all the states to pass the first prohibition law, can you believe it was Tennessee?
Tennessee. I saw that.
I mean, who in the world? Tennessee. Do you know all the liquor that they brew in Tennessee, and you're passing a probe? Right.
Jack Daniels is brewed in a dry county, David.
What the heck?
Unreal. By the way, Anita
Nothing
Baker.
says America quite like that, by the way. Jack
Does that
Daniels.
ring my bell? That's who that is?
No.
That's Anita Ward. I gotta just stop talking during this today.
Yes, you do. You just
unless it's
you
20
emptied the tank at least a half an hour ago, maybe an hour ago.
But he's still going. He's still swinging.
Oh yes, he's like the Energizer Bunny. You remember the football game we used to play as a kid when they all just went around and crashed into things? That's what Trent is right now. He can't go forward and run a pattern. He's just going around in circles. He's running into the bench on the sidelines. Okay,
David, he's that defensive lineman with two arms down and out.
Yes.
That catches hands with the other one, and they're just doing loop-de-loops right now.
I'll tell you guys should really be rooting for the 49ers on Sunday. I'll tell you that.
No.
Otherwise, it's going to be 2 weeks of this. I can't sit still.
No, it's not actually. No. We'll give you we'll give you a moment in time. We may give you a day. Okay.
I'm going to come in on Tuesday, and the mic's going to be gone. Mark's just going to have the mic unhooked.
Just unplugged. Just unplugged.
We will have a camera.
The engineer is the only person in this building that still likes Miller and Moulton, okay? The accountant and the engineer. Those are the two we can count on.
We will have a camera on you, though, just so that we could show everybody on Twitch you talking to yourself.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Go to San Francisco area of California, where a woman was trapped on top of her overturned pickup for 15 hours in rushing water. As she tried to cross a swollen creek, the car was swept away, and she was fortunate enough to get on top of it. Stayed there for 15 hours before California Highway Patrol with helicopters were able to lift her off. Overnight on top of your car in a river. Doesn't seem like fun to me.
No, it seems stressful.
For the bad, we go to Fort Myers Shores, where Anthony Carlone was out on a date. Took a woman out for a burger. While he was at the bar, he became upset because she started talking with another man. He'd seen enough, and he tried to get the woman to leave and go home with him. When she refused, he became more irritated. So he went out to his car, waited for the guy who was talking to the woman to come out. That's when Anthony called him a punk and pointed his gun at him. Anthony was arrested on charges of aggravated assault. Imagine that. He had drugs on him, too.
What?
No. Anthony's a looker, too, based on the mugshot. Don't know what that woman was trying to get away from. Woo. Finally, the ugly. We go to Naples, where an elderly Naples man is in custody after using his Porsche convertible as a battering ram, firing off multiple rounds of a pepper ball gun during a road rage incident Wednesday evening. Charles Edel got into a confrontation after cutting off another driver near a Chick-fil-A. Words were exchanged, and then he crashed his vehicle intentionally into another car and fired 2 rounds of a pepper ball gun at him. He's watching the championship games in jail this weekend. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 26th, 2024.
All right, Trent, I mean this. You know, I'm into karma. And when things happen, they happen in groups. The Lions will win Sunday if Michigan State wins at Wisconsin tonight in college hoops.
You're trying to give me a heart attack.
8 o'clock FS1. Badgers only a 2.5-point favorite at home. That's a small line on Wisconsin.
Wisconsin beat them in East Lansing last time they met in December.
Mm-hmm. Wisconsin's the better team until proven. Sparty with a chance tonight. Just saying, Trent, if it's going to happen, it'll start tonight, and then it'll just go right through the weekend for you.
I'm here for it.
NBA Magic in action tonight. One of 6 games. They're in Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. Actually, one of 8 games.
4 games in the NHL. The Panthers are on the road taking on the Penguins tonight. Your Rangers hosting Vegas in what should be a pretty good game as well.
Yeah, 7 o'clock on ESPN. So there you have it. Miller and Moulton both taking the Ravens and the Niners, but very different bets. Mark's taking the Chiefs and the points. I'm laying the points with the Ravens. Mark taking the Niners and laying the points. I'm taking the Lions and the points. There you have it.
Enjoy championship weekend, everyone. Kansas City and Baltimore. Baltimore, a 3.5-point favorite. The Niners are a 7-point favorite over the Lions. We'll break everything down Monday morning, 6 a.m. right here. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal